of Michigan and Chicago. We're out here on Laguna Beach playing some wiffle ball and training. What's up, guys? My name is Dustin, captain of the team coming into the SoCal football tournament this weekend for the Legion of Boom. That's right. We're out here training in the sand, the water, getting ready for this tournament. We're about to tell you guys what we're about. We're about to rock everybody's world in SoCal with Tommy Lee, my brothers. We're about to do this thing. We're about to do this thing right. So, let's enjoy the sun. I'll see you guys on Saturday. Oh, what is up, everybody? It's your boy here on the That Scuffed Up podcast. Welcome, everybody, to episode 51. Justin Lee, Stephen Hayden on the call. Today, ladies and gentlemen, it is post-episode 50, and we're getting right into Numero Uno ever since we did the last one. And it's been 3 weeks. A lot has happened. My goodness. Look at that handsome fellow over there. His name's Stephen Hayden. How you doing, my man?
It very much has been. There's been a lot going on since the last time we did the podcast. A lot of stuff we're going to get into, but let's see if I can get this clear right. But yeah, this probably the biggest thing of them all. We'll get more into it, but I do have my award in front of me for the most recent MLW tournament. So yeah, some pretty interesting stuff.
I know, really interesting because it's a big deal. It's a big tournament, one of the big ones that the MLW hosts every year. I think they have one in was it Long Island too? That's coming up at some point.
Yeah, we got one coming up in Long Island in a couple days. Actually, well, a couple days when this is being recorded, to be on the Saturday, the 10th and 11th.
Yeah, and
So,
even the actual guys who are in the league play on some of the teams there too, which is crazy. So
yep.
yeah, a lot to go over. A little preview of today we've got for you. Obviously, Steven just hinted at what we're going to be talking about in a segment, which
A lot.
yeah, I know, a lot. It's a lot to take in. If you didn't know, he was on a trip for about a week or so, less than a week actually. Just came back a few days ago, and ever since then, we've also had a fast pitch tournament happen. We've also had OC Wiffle Ball end its summer season. We haven't gotten to that yet because that was actually a while ago. And SoCal Wiffle Ball is just kicking off their season in terms of the video production stuff, which those are just now starting to get out. The first opening series have already been uploaded. You can actually see me and that guy over there, which is pretty cool. So we'll also talk about that as well, and then give you guys a heads up about what's happening in the future as well, because not only are the tournaments happening, so OC Wiffle Ball is also coming back, and then obviously in October we got a pretty big one, but that's probably going to be saved for another episode. But
Yeah. Plus we got. I think Dustin's going to join us for a little while as well to talk about his side and he gets some more in depth with him, because he was kind of the one that ended up putting a lot of this together and pretty much made this happen. So you'll be able to get that side of him. You get him back on for the third time in our podcast. So
yeah,
and we'll have some different stuff to talk about with him.
the first 3-timer, isn't that crazy? The first 3 times. I don't think we've had a 3-peat before.
I mean, you could say we have, but it was 3 and 4 seasons. But
Oh, I don't mean that. I mean like a third guest on the show. I mean, like I think Jordan was twice. I think that's kind of it. We haven't really had any other repeat guests.
well, yeah, unless you talk about the other OC when they won 3 World Series in 4 seasons. So
Now we're just getting into the real facts. Anyways, let's talk about a little bit about how your trip went. You left on which day exactly?
So yeah, obviously I was in Michigan. I was going out there got the plans to go out there for the MLW Wiffle the Mitten tournament. One of the biggest reasons that I went there was because Dustin asked me. He wanted to. I did talk to him about it a little before, like when it first was happening, and we made it work. And also, other biggest reason was that I happened to work out perfectly with a family trip I had going to Chicago. That's during the week before that. So since about Christmas time, I've had plans to go out there. It was from July 30. I think it was flying July 30th. Supposed to come back August 5th, which currently recording it's August 7th. And the MLW tournament was on August 3rd and 4th. 5th, we had some different family stuff going on, including some important stuff with my grandfather who had passed away recently, or within the past year. I'd doing some special stuff for him. And the MLW tournament happened to work out where it was August 3rd and 4th in Michigan, about a 5.5, 6 hour train ride from there, or could have been a 5 hour drive, but I decided to use the train. I'll talk about that later. So that happened to work out perfectly. We ended up making it happen. Dustin made it happen. We a little bit of question marks whether we were going to go or not based off the confirmation from Sawyer Bean and Jackson Pearson. But we ended up making it work. We ended up getting out there. I flew out there early. I flew out to Chicago on the 30th. I was there in Chicago from the 30th to the 2nd of August. Went to Wrigley Field a couple times, and then the 2nd of August, I was at Wrigley Field for the game, which the Cubs won, which they actually did pretty well in the series versus the Cardinals, which they kind of needed in terms of their any playoff chances that they have, because it's kind of been a brutal season for the Cubs. But I went from Wrigley Field. I went to Union Station. I got in a train, and it was the start of the journey down to Pontiac, Michigan for me, which is where we were staying. That journey was interesting there. I think a few people might know. I was sending some texts about it, and also there will be a vlog about our trip there, so that we'll get more to that as well. That will get a little more detail, but this train ride, I was so this one I was riding through the whole train. It stopped in Pontiac, Michigan, and that was about a 10-minute ride from where we were staying, and then from Brighton, Michigan, it was like a 45-minute drive from where we were staying and stuff like that. But we were staying in Pontiac. I remember it was Kalamazoo, which is where I ended up getting stuck. I ended up stuck there for a while due to a multitude of delays. One of them being a train was on the track one of the ways, so we got delayed like 45 minutes for that. And then also for me, what was it? Yeah. So because this was a late night train ride, I left Union Station at about 6 o'clock and was supposed to get in around 1 o'clock, which takes into account for the time difference. Which I didn't know there was a time difference from Illinois to Michigan. That was news to me. And so because it was a late night, they had to switch crews during the middle of the train ride, and it ended up the train with the other crew that was supposed to come on to take over my train ended up being delayed. That took another 25, 30 minutes or so, and then the train just seemed to go really slow on the way there, and pretty much everyone got off in Ann Arbor, Michigan, pretty much. And for a full like hour and a half, I was the only person in my whole train car. I was just sitting there, just bored out of my mind. And
for a whole hour.
For a whole hour and a half, I was the only person on my specific train car. And when I got to Pontiac, I ended up getting to Pontiac. We were supposed to get in at like 1:15 or so, and we didn't end up getting in until 2:55 a.m.
Wow, that's a crazy delay.
I was you'll see in the vlog. I tried my best to hide it, but I was kind of losing my mind there.
It's so funny because I don't know if other people can imagine that, but since I've hung out with you a lot, like I can kind of see where, like I can imagine like what that face might look like.
I mean, yeah, there was a lot of stuff I didn't even record because I was just done with the whole day and things like that, and since it was literally just me and one other lady were the only two getting off at Pontiac, and then it's 3 o'clock in the morning. All Dustin, Jackson, and Sawyer, they're all asleep, which I'm glad they were. They should be asleep. So I had to try to plan out an Uber to try to get to the house. When I was looking around 12, I was looking between the hours of 12:35 and 1 o'clock to try to plan it out for an Uber for a 12-minute ride. It was looking to cost around $40, and
what?
I was. well, just because the time of the night and try to plan it ahead and stuff like that. But
Mm.
I I I decided to hold. I decided to hold it out and actually end up getting. I didn't pay new. I didn't pay even half of that for an Uber at 3 o'clock in the morning. Got an Uber, went over to the house. Luckily, they left it unlocked for me. They were all asleep, and I just crawled in bed and fell asleep. And then I texted Dustin when I got in, and I was like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to wake me up in the morning because I'm not gonna." I mean, it's like 3:30 at this point. By the time I'm getting in bed and going to sleep, so I was just like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to wake me up." And luckily, it didn't have to be up too early. But that's how my travel there kind of went, and that's how it went for me. That's how this trip all kind of worked out for me.
Hmm.
It just happened to work out perfectly timing wise for me. So, but yeah, we'll talk more with Dustin. We'll talk more with Dustin later in another segment about kind of his journey. He had a little smoother journey getting there. He just flew out. He flew out from Vegas, I believe. So we'll talk more about that with him.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
so it's side note. It's so funny how like the story is like kind of shitting on the American transportation system. Because I have taken the train to school multiple different times, and you have no idea how difficult it is when a delay happens because
yep.
the next train usually comes within the next like 30 minutes, but if one train breaks down on the tracks, it's like a no go for every other train that's on that same track. Like
Yep.
if you have one stop, that's it. Like you're kind of just done for. Like when we take the Angels Express from Laguna Niguel to Anaheim, we've had it twice already this year, where there's like some dude got hit by the train, or
Oh.
there's some accident or something like that. Yeah, it's rough. And then like when like this is pretty much just me ranting about the American transportation system.
That's what we
um,
do out here.
yeah, I know, for real. And then like when you go to Japan, you're like, wow, they come every 10 minutes and there's no delays, barely, like everything like that. So I don't know, just a
Yeah.
little tangent. It's just funny how we were like the story's like shitting on the how
So you're saying you'd
crazy.
rather live in Japan?
Say again.
So you're saying you'd rather live in Japan?
I've debated it. Yeah, I mean, I
Oh,
don't think
man.
most people know this, but I think eventually I'll do like a little like maybe a program over there, learn some Japanese, teach English, that type of thing. I think that'd be cool to just do.
Gotcha. Maybe they can teach you to take the lid off before you try to drink a drink first. I just saw
Sorry, I was
that.
just like I had a brain fart there. I was like, it's like, oh wait, there's a cap there. Yeah.
I'm just playing. So,
But yeah,
uh,
I guess because Dustin's gonna be on here, so I guess are you saving the chunk of this for when he gets on here, or is it?
we'll probably save the major. We'll probably save the majority of the stuff for when he's here. I'll go into it
Okay.
a little bit from my side. So the way this tournament works is that everybody gets two pool play games on Saturday, and then in each. Which, well, by the way, there were. This was LLW's biggest tournament ever in terms of the number of teams. They had across three divisions. They had 95 teams.
Wow. That's a
They had
wow. Jeez.
Yeah, there was a 10 to 12 age group, there was a 13 to 15 age group, and then there was a 16 plus. Obviously, we were in the 16 plus. I mean, because I'm like,
I mean, you guys could pull some fake IDs. Just
yeah,
playing a different bracket. Yeah.
yeah, sure, okay, yeah, sure, yeah. With me walking around.
Yeah, you could just be like one of those guys who like hit puberty at like 10 and just decide to grow to like 6 foot like 2 or something.
I am 12.
Yeah, deep voice and everything.
Yeah, no. We'll talk more about it later. But actually, some guys thought I was older than I actually. They thought I was older than I actually am. So
Really? I feel
yeah,
like I feel like people would think you're younger than you actually are.
yeah, well, I'll talk more about it later with Dustin and things like that.
Yeah.
Uh, but so we played our two games Saturday. We ended up winning both of them. First one, right, Saturday we weren't quite on. I'd say we were like none of us were really at our best. We ended up getting the two wins though. We played two. We didn't play any MLW guys in in the pool play games. We played two other teams. We ended up, we got the job done. We won the first game 3-2. I believe Jackson Pearson. I mean I should say that's who Dustin and I teamed up with. We teamed up with two guys from Michigan. We teamed up with Jackson Pearson, who was on the Western Wildcats. Which if I had my hat around, I actually bought a hat at Western Wildcats because that's been the team I've liked the most in the league in that league. And then we also had Sawyer Bean, who's on the Great Lakes Gators, who I remember me talking about Sawyer more from the Arizona tournament, which he played with us. Then he and Jackson also played with Dustin for the Mid Atlantic Opening Day tournament in April, which I was not able to go to because as I had baseball playoffs before that. So this is my first time. This is the second time playing with Sawyer for me, and then my first time getting to meet and play with Jackson for this one. Uh, we got job done the first couple days. Uh, Jackson had a walk off home run. Walk off single in the first game, and then second game, second. I did manage to get a couple home runs the second game. I was seeing the ball better the second game than the first, but second game I think went 8-1. We ended up there were 27 teams in our division after going 2-0 with a plus 7 run differential and only 3 runs against us. We ended up being the 5 seed going into the tournament, which we'll talk more later. But our side of the bracket was a lot it was a lot easier than the other side of the bracket. Uh, you had 6 MLW teams in this tournament. One of them didn't make it to the play. One of them didn't make it to the elimination round. But then on one side of the bracket, you had all 5 MLW teams sitting on one side of the bracket, like in terms of like they were all MLW guys, and they were actually named like MLW blue, MLW white, silver, red, and all that stuff. And then here we are on the other side. Just I think the only MLW players were Sawyer, Jackson, and then Jeremy Adams, who teammates with Sawyer on the Great Lakes Gators, who was with his Flamingos team. Of course, that's what we ended up playing the first round. We beat them. Then we ended up advancing all the way to the final versus MLW Blue, and we won. Obviously came away with this. Well, we'll go into more detail with each game later. I'm just kind of giving the quick rundown.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but for me personally, as well with this, I kind of went into this kind of expecting more to be like defense and off and hit kind of guy. And I know Dustin has wanted to pitch out there. I thought he was going to pitch a good amount, and then we had Sawyer and Jackson as well. So I'm like, okay, cool. I can just chill. I'm going to pitch like 2, maybe 3 innings or so, and just be able to relax and kind of have an easy weekend in terms of my arm, because the previous weekend we just played a fast pitch tournament and I came off. We'll get into more of that later, but I pitched like 11 innings there in a row. Uh, but then this tournament, I actually pitched the most innings on the team. Actually, I think I threw like 10 innings in total. I threw 4 Saturday and threw 6 Sunday. I started our first 2 elimination games, and we did all right. I only gave up 1 hit actually. I just a 2-run home run. In the last game I played, the second last inning, I was kind of like, oh, okay, I could have just gone 10 innings, score this, but whatever. But we ended up battling. We ended up working through. Uh, got runs early in a lot of these elimination games. And we ended up coming away with a tournament win.
Ooh. Yeah. I mean, if you're trying to get the name of the West Coast football guys out there, then that's a good way to do it. Going out to the East Coast, well, kind of the East Coast, like
Midwest.
Michigan, yeah, Midwest area, and putting a name for themselves, like out there, especially like when you guys are about to go to York, Pennsylvania too. Like that's a big upscale and like getting that name out there, even though it's like in a weird way, it's like not entirely like SoCal guys, because it's just you and Dustin who are associated with the SoCal team, and then there's Sawyer, and then was it Jackson Pearson, right?
Yep.
And those guys are like more MLW, but those guys like they know like who they're playing against in those terms, because obviously they play against those guys. So still must be cool, like just to be able to see all those guys. And like I saw you browsing at the store a little bit.
Yeah. It was pretty cool to be able to play with those guys, and also we all stayed in the same house and all that. We even had Dallas Allen in our house for a couple for Saturday and Sunday night. So
Oh shit.
that was interesting to kind of get. You get to see you can see some people on video and things like that. It's interesting to see them outside of videos and things like that. I think we talked about that when we went to York
Mm-hmm.
about seeing guys outside of the videos and what they're like, and see if they're the same as they are on camera and things like that. And I mean, through this, and through Sawyer and Jackson, we got to meet a lot of the MLW guys in there, and got to talk to them a lot. And yeah, yeah. We'll get to more guys later, but we end up talking to like RJ Walgate a lot. We talked good about with Jimmy Norp as well. Obviously, we had Dallas over at the house on Saturday night, so we had our team plus Dallas Allen for a Saturday night at a house alone. You can imagine how that might have went.
Just a
But
bunch of
but yeah,
nerds talking about wiffle ball. Probably.
uh, there was definitely some football talk. There was definitely some other stuff as well. So
Oh, okay.
I'll show you some stuff, some stuff later. But
Yeah, I'm sure there's some juicy details once Dustin gets on here too.
yeah, some details that maybe we can't share, but or shouldn't share. But I'll just go back to kind of like my trip with it just a little bit, and obviously we'll do a lot more with Dustin, a lot more in depth stuff.
Hmm.
So we end up winning the tournament Sunday. We finished at like 3:30 or so, 3:45,
Hmm.
and so my thing was I mentioned this was August 4th is when we won the tournament. I mentioned August 5th I was supposed to fly back. I had a 9 a.m. flight out of Midway Airport in Chicago. So the way I made it work, I had Sawyer. Look at the timing and stuff. Sawyer was able to take me to the train station in Ann Arbor, which is about 20 minutes away, and I just sat there, waited for a couple hours, and I got on the train at 7 o'clock to come back to Chicago, and I ended up getting back to my house at like 12:45 in the morning. Which luckily that train ride was a lot smoother. To no delays there.
Okay, that's
The only
good.
thing like the only thing that kind of sucked was when I got to Union Station in Chicago, was everyone was coming back from Lollapalooza because that was going on this weekend as well in Chicago. So,
Oh wow.
it's a huge Great Hall, but you can just see the whole outline of the Great Hall. It's like you have like a corridor, it's like a straight line,
Yeah.
and then you cut around to this big giant box. You can see people from Lollapalooza they're surrounding the whole perimeter of the Great Hall. Is how many people that were waiting to get back on a train.
Wow.
It was like they weren't even letting people. Um, at Union Station, they have two different sides. You have one side's the Amtrak side, and you have the other side is the Metro side for the Amtrak trains and Metro trains.
Hmm.
One's going, the Amtrak is going north, and the Metro is going south, and so pretty much everyone's. I had to go south, and pretty much everyone else was going south as well. So they had extra trains to try to make sure everyone could get there, and it was just kind of a nightmare to get on that because they weren't letting people out to the Metro side unless you had to wait behind this police taped line. You had to get told where to go, and I was trying to take an express train, and they just put people on trains, and it ended up cost me an extra half an hour because I wasn't on an express train and things like that.
Wow.
It was kind of a nightmare in there, to be honest. It was a mess because I think that was the Sunday the 4th was the last day of Lollapalooza going on. So
Oh, so it's like really inconvenient timing.
yeah,
Yeah.
in terms of that, yeah.
Wow. My goodness.
But it all worked out in the end. I got home at like 12:45. I hadn't eaten dinner yet, so I had something to eat. And then I had to wake up and I had to leave. I had to leave the house by 7 to go to Midway for my flight. I flew home. It was like 9 o'clock flight. Ended up flying. Got in here Monday, California time. I got in like 12:45 or so, and I've just been here since then. So it's just something I'd planned out a couple months in advance, and luckily it ended up working out good enough.
Perfect. Perfect. Well, that's good then. I mean, there's a lot of. It's a hectic
It's a
trip
long
right there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long trip. It was a long journey. I was kind of I almost decided just to rent a car and go out there, but uh, very cheaper it's always cheaper to take a train. Plus, Jackson and Sawyer they drove out to the house, so they had cars. We were just able to use them as rides and things like that. So that worked out pretty well.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, just busy weekend. I was at Wrigley Field a couple times during the week, and then just the whole point of I think of going out to Michigan. Not getting in until like 3:30, and then 8 hours later playing 2 games in a row. It was just kind of it was a long weekend, but it was a fun weekend. Had some good success, and got to meet a lot of people out there as well.
Right. Yeah. Um, I saw that you were talking to a lot of different guys from MLW as well, but yeah, I think it's just kind of interesting, just because this is not even the first time we've talked about like crazy trips, and like like even the York, Pennsylvania trip last year. We were talking about that a little bit, and just like how kind of crazy some it's like little things kind of just work out, and like when I took a trip to Green Bay a couple years ago, it was like we had to pick like, do we take a train or do we take a car? I think for the experience, it was probably better to take a car just because we could drive around and whatnot. Like
Yeah,
taking a train would have taken like forever. Like, and then
yeah,
we found out that there was no train that goes directly to Green Bay, so it was like, all right, well, I guess we just have to go get a car because if we took the train, we'd have to take like a link up bus after that, and that would have taken us like 4 hours or whatnot. So, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I guess whenever you're taking a trip, something crazy does happen, especially like Lollapalooza happening.
yeah,
Ooh, man. Yeah, we
yeah.
gotta
It
work
was
around
that
that.
was nuts.
Well, I think it's actually a good time right now to maybe get Dustin on here since we're on the topic. So might as well just switch over and get him on here.
You get future versions of us. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, like we said before, we get Dustin Staggs back on here for the third time, making his appearance back on the show. He's right there in the corner, and Stephen Hayden as well, of course. Dustin, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has. It has been a minute. I don't even know when the last time that I was on here was, but I'm glad to be back.
It's great to have you as always. Obviously, the big reason why you're here is because the fact that you guys just came back from Michigan, big MLW dub, so to speak. Coming back from that, you had a really good squad. Obviously, Steven was there as well. We got some juicy details about the trip overall and how hectic his entire like train ride was, and I heard he had a better time. So I guess we'll just kind of start from the beginning, like how it kind of developed, and then going into the games because obviously Steven pretty much broke down everything from there, but he wanted to save some of those details for when you came on. So glad to have you here. Yeah, share us the juicy details about how everything went in Michigan.
All right. We got to go back to April, I think it was, whenever we went out to Ma, when we went to the opening day. We played with Logan Christie, Jackson Pearson, Sawyer, and EJ. We kind of started to talk about, the potential of getting into some MLW stuff. Obviously, we knew about the tournaments. We knew that the Mitten was supposed to be their biggest one, and we started talking about, maybe we team up for that. We grab Steven. We go out there and we go see what we can do. Kind of get our name out there for some of the MLW guys, which we've already seen the impact of it in the channel. We gained like 100 subs just the day of winning the tournament, which was kind of cool.
Poof.
But yeah, so we started talking to them in April. Obviously, I talked to Sawyer and JP a lot. We got things worked out. We got the whole thing planned. I actually went to Vegas and then flew out of Vegas, got to Michigan Friday morning. No issues there. We met up with JP and Sawyer. Actually, Sawyer took JP took like 3 hours to get me from the airport, which is, kind of sucked, but whatever. Not as bad as Steven's train ride situation. We get there Friday. Steven doesn't show up until 3 o'clock in the morning, so we were already knocked out. Wake up Saturday. JP and Steven finally actually meet. We play the game Saturday, which I'm sure Steven's broken it down. We kind of had to stick around afterwards, which was nice to get to meet some of the MLW guys. Just talk to them, do that whole thing. Get to talk to Kyle a little bit more. Got to meet RJ, who I had kind of talked to a little bit here and there. Preston Colm. I mean, all those MLW guys are super cool. Saturday was kind of a good, experience with that. We got to kind of chill out and hang out with some of them. Go back Saturday. Dallas Allen actually ends up staying with us, which was cool to get to know him better. Sunday morning rolls around, dude. Like it's not even 6 o'clock yet because we were all like, oh, we're gonna wake up at 6, right? Swear at 5:55, Sawyer kicks in my door. He's yelling. He's like, dude, you got to get up. We're getting up. Let's go. He was on something else that morning. And then there's just Dal. Dal's like, he's like, dude, I don't even have to play until 10:30. Like, I'm not getting up. So Dal kind of stuck back. We all headed to the field, played some killer music that will be featured in the vlog shortly. Should be out. I don't know when this video comes out, but as of now, it's going to be in like a week that the vlog will come out. But yeah, Sunday morning, got to play the Flamingos. Jeremy Adams, who's on the Gators with Sawyer. We got to play his team. Luckily, they didn't have JSO because that would have been a torture of a first game of the day. Beat them. Got to play another team that I wasn't all too familiar with. They were actually better than we expected. And then we're into the semis against the 1 seed. Beat the 1 seed actually pretty easily, all things considered. And then, of course, we have to face MLW Blue, who had won the thing the last 3 years in a row. Things went well. We won, celebrated, got to hang out with some more MLW guys, had some people over at the house Sunday night. Overall, it was a fun weekend. Not going to go into too many details on the nights, but it was fun. That's all you guys need to know. Dow was there, JP, Sawyer, some of their buddies. It was fun. And then Monday morning rolls around. So my flight was originally scheduled for like 4:30 or something like that out of Detroit. I get to the airport. It's like, I don't know, like 1 o'clock maybe. We stopped and had breakfast. And then I'm sitting there and I get a notification that my flight gets pushed back to 6:30. And then another notification that my flight gets pushed back to 8. And I'm like, dude, this sucks, right? And I get on the plane, fly back, get to Vegas because my van was still in Vegas. And we taxied for an hour and a half. I didn't even get off of the plane until 11 o'clock-ish Pacific time. Ended up staying the night at a hotel, drove back yesterday morning, and now we're here.
Oh, that was yesterday morning. Oh my gosh, did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of walked us through the kind of the abridged notes there, which is nice. Yeah, like you said, some of the details more there. Obviously, Steven knows a little bit more about the interaction because for whatever reason, I know Steven's a guy who kind of memorizes details of games a lot.
Are you just calling me a sweat or like?
No, a genius
No,
maybe.
it's not that you're a sweat.
You're not wrong, but
you're a nerd. You're not a sweat. You're a nerd.
Exactly. That's my exact thought process when you say like you're hanging out with all the MLW guys. Like, what do you guys do when you're hanging out? It's probably just a bunch of wiffle ball talk. Am I wrong?
yeah, little bit here and there.
Dustin's giving me the look like, nah, maybe, kind of.
It was a lot of there was some talk about wiffle ball stuff, but there was a lot of other stuff.
We were actually really good this weekend at keeping our mind off of the tournament and not like holding on to things. We had, I don't know if Steven talked about it already, the goldfish mentality. It's goldfish. I don't even think it's true anymore because I think Steven corrected me, but what I thought is that goldfish had like, the shortest memory, like they were the dumbest animal or something. I don't know. So I was telling everyone to be a goldfish, forget what just happened and go on to the next thing. And that's kind of what we tried to do. We didn't try to linger too much on the games that happened Saturday because we did not play well on Saturday. And we kind of knew if we didn't play well Saturday and went 2-0, then if we play well on Sunday, we got a good shot at winning it. We kind of, reset our minds on Sunday and got things to work. But to go back to it, no, we didn't really talk that much about wiffle ball outside of the tournament. Obviously, at the tournament, we were pretty locked in. But even then, like, Sawyer and I were a cappella singing songs throughout the entire tournament and not really taking it super seriously until it was time to lock in and actually take it seriously.
Fair enough. Yeah, that makes sense. I think the quote that you're getting onto is a Ted Lasso quote. Is
yes,
goldfish are the happiest animal on the planet because they have a short memory, so they don't remember much after a certain amount of time. Yeah, that's a good quote to have. I actually have that on my graduation cap. Funny enough, because I love that show. Yeah, it makes sense. Like metaphorically speaking, like you know how the Japanese team was when they before they won the classic, they Shohei Ohtani literally told him like, don't admire the guys, just play your game, which makes sense. So like, and obviously it worked out in the end for you guys. So you guys are champions, and like you said, brought a lot of attention to your guys' thing that you're doing out here at SoCo. But obviously, you had some help with some of the guys who actually are in MLW. I mean, how did that go? I know obviously you played with Sawyer Bean before. Obviously, you get another guy from MLW as well. A little bit different, but I heard Steven also pitched a bunch too in that tournament. So I don't know. How did it kind of mesh all together with a couple of different guys?
So, what was really unique about this weekend, which has never really happened before, is nobody did great. Everybody did their part. Steven pitched really well. I did what I do, get in on base, getting RBIs. Sawyer surprisingly did the opposite of what he normally does. He hit very well. And then JP pitched very well. So it was like we had everyone kind of doing their parts, which was nice to be able to get Sawyer and JP to kind of contribute a little bit more than maybe they did in Ma. And we had fun, which was important. We had a lot of fun, but those guys are obviously extremely good, and just their presence in the box or on the mound kind of can change a game. They know a lot of the guys that were already out there, so it made it easier as a hitter to kind of, we go in there facing the Flamingos first thing in the morning on Sunday, and Sawyer's Jeremy's teammate, so he kind of understands the way that he pitches, and I mean, Sawyer came up clutch. He hit a grand slam that you guys will see in the video. JP pitched phenomenally all day Sunday, and Steven pitched phenomenally all day Saturday and all day Sunday. It was funny because going into it, Steven and I had talked, and I was going to try to throw more. I was going to try to throw more than he was, but Saturday after my first 3 innings, I was like, oh my God, my arm shot. Because we had the fast pitch tournament the previous weekend, where Steven and I both threw, I think I threw like 8 1/3 and he threw 9 2/3 or something. I forget what the math was. He was telling me it. Like I said, he's a nerd. But so my arm was sore from that, and then I wasn't really thinking, so I threw a bullpen on Tuesday to try to get used to the MLW balls, which was completely wrong. I was so off on the scuff because, and then so I threw a bullpen Tuesday, and then I threw again Thursday in Vegas. I had to throw 9 innings, and then trying to come out Saturday was not good. The balls there was 10 balls, well, roughly 10 balls in the bucket. They're supposed to be like 70, 60 grit, something like that, and they were all different. Like, you could not throw 2 balls the same way because one of them will rise, one of them will dip, and then if you're throwing a drop ball, one of them will go straight, one of them will go left, one of them will go right. Most frustrating thing I've ever tried to deal with. But Steven was able to figure it out with the riser. It was funny because I'm not a riser pitcher, but that's the only pitch that was working for me. And I think same with Steven and same with JP. So all we had to do was throw risers for strikes, and it worked. And then, it was, I don't know. I can't stress enough how weird those balls were trying to figure them out on short notice like that.
Are they scuffed like differently, or is it just like just the way that they're?
I don't know. Like, I don't know what was different between them, but they were all different. Like, when you looked at them, one of them would squish in your hand, and then the other one wouldn't. And then some of them would have like no scuff on one side, and some of them would, and then some of them would be fully scuffed. So I don't really know what happened. I know that Sawyer and JP kind of warned us about it. They said that the turf will kind of take off the scuff or add more scuff to it, just depending. And it was also so humid in that facility. And I overheard Cal talking. I guess there was supposed to be AC, but I don't know what happened. There was no AC, and it was hot in there. But it was weird. The balls would like squish in your hand sometimes, and then you go to throw a riser. Like, you'll see in the video that comes out tomorrow, as of recording this, like half of my risers would start rising and then just die, and then the other half would take off and go like above the zone, and you just see me start laughing on the mound because I don't know what to do. So I started throwing like almost like a law ball, but it was, I don't know. It was so frustrating. I don't know how JP dealt with that and then was still able to chuck 90 and do what he did on Sunday.
I mean, there's a reason why they're playing in that league, I guess, and I feel like they probably participate in more like crazy tournaments like that than we do here because obviously we have the SoCal stuff, the Upland stuff, but like nothing like any more crazier than what they do in Michigan, and obviously they have the Long Island tournament that's coming up at some point, so that's probably a whole other thing too. Even like the other groups, because it's like it's not just you guys, because you guys are what 16 and up. Then there's also like the other like age groups or whatever, and then I don't know if they're using the same thing. Are they not?
Yeah, the entire tournament was the same on every field. No, the 16 plus, the mound was like 3 feet further or something like that. But I think all the other fields were like the same zone, which was huge, the same balls, which weren't the best. They were inconsistent. It's not that they weren't the best, it's that they were inconsistent. If every ball was consistent, it would have been fine because you could have figured out how to throw the drop ball or finger ball or whatever it is that you wanted to do. But the only two things that seemed to work with every ball was the riser and the super drop or curve or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But it was really surreal. Sorry, showing up Saturday morning to see how many people were there. All I don't even know how many fields they had set up. Like 12, like 13. There was a lot of fields set up on one football field or soccer pitch or whatever you want to call it. But it was really weird to watch that. And it was also weird that we only played on one field the entire tournament. We were on field 1 all 6 games, which I guess might have given us an advantage in the championship, but at the same time, maybe not. But I don't know.
That's so funny you say that because Steven knows a very good reference from OC Wiffle Ball about winning championships on one specific side of the field at the Great Park because that's literally what
Okay, yeah. I mean, okay,
yeah.
all right.
What? I mean, the thought process is that we'd always win on this one side of the field at the Great Park in the softball stadium, and that's where we played our championship games.
That does seem to happen.
Yeah, it does seem to happen. So I don't know.
All right, I did forget about that.
Yeah, there you go. Well, this is kind of like reeling you in a little bit, actually, Steven. But I guess for both of you, like, how did it feel to play against like the familiar guys? Like, I mean, I'm sure you guys got to interact with them like at York last year a little bit more, but actually like playing against the guys who are part of such a big league like MLW, like, does it feel surreal, or is it just like a couple of regular guys?
Steven, I'll let you go first on this one.
I talked about it a little bit. I mean, about the earlier part. I mean, we didn't really play a lot of the MLW guys, to be quite honest.
Right, because the
the
bracket.
Yeah, I mean, even our pool play games, we didn't play any MLW guys. I mean, up before the final, the only MLW guy we had played was Jeremy Adams on the Flamingos, and I did look at it. I saw that. I think it was that Instagram page that's tagged us and like and it has you like number 4 on the rankings page before like that Wiffless kind of that guy. He had that. We played a team in the semifinals that like he predicted that was going to get drafted into MLW. Dominic Canzoni. We played him in the semifinals. He thought he was going to like whoever runs that page thought he was going to be a draft pick in MLW last year or could be in the future. So, but I mean up until the final, we only really played one MLW guy. It was just it was more for us just kind of. I think it was more just talking around, just being around those guys. And I mean, Dustin was around pretty much talking to any guy out there, any player in the league out there, and just getting comfortable out there. So that was more the main thing, I think, until we got to the final, obviously, when we played when we played MLW Blue. But I mean, the bracket. I mean, that bracket sometimes it just has a way of working a certain way. Mm-hmm. It just led to us not playing as many of those guys specifically in the league.
I mean, like when you play like you said, when you get to the finals, like does it now you're playing against actual MLW guys?
Yeah. That one felt really weird for me. It's like I mean you can always like. Going to US for last year for me was like my first time really ever getting to to see any of those guys in person. I know like Dustin had met like Jordan Robles and stuff in Arizona the previous year, and things like that. But I mean, we kind of knew we didn't really have a chance to go play those guys. Plus, there's a lot of that's a completely different audience at UWIFs versus the one at the one at this tournament that we just went to. I mean, playing them with a final it was kind of surreal. It was kind of it was just weird, you know, having all those people, all the other players, and all the other people we either just beat or just lost in other games just come to watch us. It was kind of weird just coming out there, first time to a tournament like this and getting getting that kind of result.
I'll
Yeah.
be honest, I have a different take on it.
Oh.
I actually thought that it was almost easier to play those guys from MLW because, like, and not that it wasn't surreal to play them and meet them and all that, but I feel that I play a lot better against those guys that are a lot better. And I kind of like, I think that this is just a this year type of thing, like going up against James anytime that we do live ABs or spring training or anything like that. I kind of do well. Going up against Ben Doolin and Jaso, I felt like I saw those guys very well in Pennsylvania. And then at the tournament, I honestly think that I had my, even though like results weren't there, my best feeling game at the plate against Dal, like when he was on the mound. And we didn't even get to face Cal. I think Cal was supposed to be next up, but it almost felt like I think it's just because I can lock in more against those guys. But it that game I felt the most comfortable out of any of the ones in the tournament.
Really? Even though you because you guys beat that number one seed pretty well, like you said, and then everything else kind of just like percolated. So like really, it kind of felt like it was easier to play the MLW guys than the other games that you guys had.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's because I like the moment and I like the eyes to be on the team, but it just being there, I was kind of able to tune everything else out and just play wiffle ball, which some of the other like early games, like Saturday especially, like after the first day, I told Steven, I was like, dude, I was nervous. Like it was weird going up to face those guys, especially because we are supposed to win those two games on Saturday. You know, we're coming from Cali. We have two MLW guys. We have a lot of talent. We're a US team. We're supposed to win those games on Saturday. You go into the championship against MLW Blue, who's won that tournament the last 3 years in a row. We're not supposed to win that game. So it almost felt easier to be locked in because we're almost the underdogs, even though we're the 5 seed and they're the 15.
Yeah, the underdog mentality definitely does play a difference in a lot of competitions. That's it, definitely for sure. You know, much like the Philadelphia Eagles when they played the Patriots in the Super Bowl, you could tell there was a more locked in mentality from their team rather than the other side, so to speak. But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, do you also think that playing a lot of the upland tournaments or the fast pitch stuff kind of helps a little bit with settling into the mode? Because obviously, MLW is one thing, but fast pitch is a whole other beast, right?
Yeah, so I'll be honest, I think that the more out of state tournaments that we do, the more comfortable I get in overall tournaments. Like I think obviously the first time I ever went to Upland was not scary but different. Um like the first time that we went to Arizona was different. Like but this one in Michigan, like I felt pretty comfortable going out there. Obviously the first day is, I mean, you meet everybody. We're on the main field, of course. Kyle's like, yeah, screw these guys. These guys are going front center where everyone can see you right when they walk in. Um, but I don't know. I felt a lot more comfortable there than I have in the past. And like, I don't know, when we went to UWIFs was not comfortable. Obviously this year it'll be a little bit different. Like Ma opening day, I kind of felt comfortable. So that was nice to build off of that going into this tournament. And then I think to build off of this tournament going into UFs and then build off of UFs going into Arizona.
You guys kind of have a plan set up here, which is pretty good. And then hey, there's already a familiarity thing now that you guys have done it once in New York, and then you guys are about to do it again. So that's another thing. Yeah, so it must be interesting. Another point I wanted to bring up was, especially for people who are following the tournament. I was a little bit watching some of the videos. I watched the end of the finals when you guys won. Pretty cool to see the celebration. I just like how the little updates that we get from it. I mean, obviously they're it's funny when you see like, oh, this guy's doing this guy does that, and then there's this one that says Steven was there.
Yeah, let me go on record here. That was not me. That was all Steven. Steven runs our social medias, and he let me know beforehand. He was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna post this," and I was like, "All right, go for it." And I thought it was funny, and there's a lot of people that hit me up. Like I know Logan hit me up, and he was like, well, "Why did you post this?" I was like, "It wasn't me," but yeah, it is. It's funny, and it's good that our team chemistry's kind of grown to that point where we can almost make fun of each other because we know that we all had a part to play, and Steven played his part very well on the mound. I played my part well at the plate. Sawyer played his part well at the plate. Like I kind of touched on earlier, like we all had a part to play. We all got the job done. We all know that we can make fun of each other for certain things, like I don't know. Like we all had bad at bats, we all had good at bats, we all had bad innings on the mound, we all had good innings on the mound. So it's good that that group was able to kind of make fun of each other and have a good time while also winning.
Definitely, Steven.
I also put that because I just genuinely just did not hit that game. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Dustin had like multiple hits that game. I think Sawyer had a home run that game, and Jackson threw. Jackson started that game and threw 3 shutout innings. Only gave up like I must have had like only 2 base runners on or out or something like that. And I, for whatever reason, just not like whatever reason Saturday I hit better than Sunday. Sunday it's the same thing as Dustin mentioned. It was the inconsistency of the ball, and I was oftentimes just kind of I was trying to get a pitch, and I kept not getting that pitch, and I just kept getting, or if I would get it, it was just like and the same thing with like where the risers are just or there's dropping down at the last second after they start rising. It's like I was just getting wrong. So I always I've said it to you guys multiple times. You know, I'm not afraid to make fun of myself, and as long as if I can't make fun of myself, then I don't feel like I can do that with others. So that's the way I look at it. But that was my idea entirely to do that, and I would not do that to anyone else but myself. But I think Tommy even mentioned something about that after he saw it. Say, yeah, the SoCal Instagram page disrespected you by putting that you were there. I'm like, yeah, I put it.
Oh yeah, I remember seeing that. That was pretty funny to see that. I mean, it's also a little off-putting because you see that and you're like, oh, Steven's not doing anything. Like I thought he was there to do something, and then he tells me later, he's like, I pitched like 11 plus innings or something like that, or 20 plus innings. I'm like, what?
I was getting on base a few times, like throughout. I kind of took the Dustin role where I just started walking and just trying to get on base on Sunday, and it worked a few times. But then I see Dustin getting doubles and triples. I see Sawyer hitting multiple home runs. I see Jackson getting on base. It's like I feel like I need to do something. Sometimes I was just pressing a little bit at times.
I'm telling you, that's exactly how I felt in Arizona last year. Like I'm sitting there, I got like a 600 OBP with 1 hit, and then I'm watching Sawyer hit like 3 bombs. You've got a couple bombs. Cannon's got a couple bombs, and I'm like, dude, what am I doing? But at the same time, like I've talked to Steven about this. It's so important for somebody to get on base because a solo shot compared to a 2-run home run is a huge difference in fast pitch.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I was like comparing it to like the fast pitch and stuff. I mean, the yellow bat versus the big bat makes a big difference in trying to see some faster pitching, and just you just feel a lot more comfortable when you have a big bro bat going against fast pitching. I know Dallas had pitched a lot. He had already pitched like 7-8 innings before he got to the final, just because they were. Yeah. I mean, MLW Blue, they were the 15 seed out of 16 going into this tournament, and so like they had to face the. I didn't even go over all these teams that were in it and stuff, or like what the results would happen, but they had to their first round matchup was against like the team of like RJ Walgate, Patrick Ballman. It was like the MLW all tall team, so it's like they were on that side of the bracket. And they were stuck in a tough spot, and And still, I'm not even sure how hard Dallas was throwing, but I mean, he was still throwing pretty hard. It just feels a lot more comfortable. You got a big bro with that, and also a smaller zone versus those huge zones at the MLW tournament with the yellow bat.
Something else to note that like I told you, we didn't really talk about Wiffle that much outside of the tournament, but Saturday night when the bracket did come out, we kind of looked at it and we figured that whoever wins between us and Flamingos and MLW Blue and MLW All Tall would make it to the finals. And sure enough, the two teams that won those first round games made it to the finals.
Damn.
Yeah.
All the way
yeah,
through.
I'll show you a picture later on to kind of give you an idea of what the bracket actually looked like.
That's gonna be a jumbled mess to kind of organize on here.
Hey, have fun with this edit, Justin.
Oh man, and I'm not getting paid a cent for any of this.
Welcome to the life.
Tell me about it.
It's like modern day slavery. What are you talking about?
Okay, all right, relax.
It's a good thing that there's editing for this stuff.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
You had that. I'll deem.
I hope so. I just whipped you guys on camera. That's not good.
What the fuck, bro?
Just put that as the outro or something. That's the.
We're already starting off episode 51. We're about to get canceled online.
Yep,
Jeez.
that's the goal.
Exclusive footage. Anyways, all right, let's get back to the topic. Actually, on a side note, was this like your first time meeting Dallas Allen, or you guys have interacted before, right?
I talked to him for about 15 seconds at UWIFs last year, but no, it was the first time that I've met him, like actually met him. But what I've noticed is the trend that we have with the MLW guys is like we add one every tournament that we go out and hang out with them. So like the first one in Arizona last year we had Sawyer, and then PA this year for Ma we had JP and Sawyer, and then this year we had Sawyer, JP, and Dal. So who knows what the future holds.
Oh man, that'll be interesting. Maybe like you could get like Jack Eigner or something, or
funny enough, I've never actually seen Jack. Like I've seen TC3, but Jack and Tommy both weren't at the tournament this weekend, so I didn't get to meet him.
You gotta get Warda, dude. That'd be sick.
Yeah, Warda was cool. I sat down and talked to him for like a couple minutes, but
what about Cratched? You know, the guy.
Actually, funny enough, I did a live AB off of Crash in the corner on Saturday. Yeah, because he wasn't coming back on Sunday, and it was after they already played their games, and I was over there with the TPW kid, and he was just dotting me up. And then I got to see like Sawyer and I did a couple live ABs, and then Cratch stepped in, and yeah, it's cool to get to meet those guys and then face them, and obviously it's a huge difference facing them in a live AB at a tournament compared to in MLW with that set ball and everything. But it's still cool to be able to get to see those guys as a hitter. And Cratch is he's just so accurate. Like he was walking away, he was probably 5 feet back from where the mound was, just stuck his finger in the ball, went like this, and the ball went and just landed right in the middle of the strike zone. And I was like, dude, you are a nerd. But yeah, those guys are all cool. They're all humans, you know what I mean? They're all different personalities, and like I got to hang out a lot with RJ. RJ and I have gotten pretty close, which is weird because two of the guys that I've gotten pretty close with are Preston and RJ, and they're both 16, but you wouldn't even notice like the difference between them. RJ kind of seems like he's 16. Preston I thought was like 20, like 22. Like I thought he was like my age, like Steven's age, but they're young guys, and I don't know. It's cool to get to meet those guys and talk to them, obviously.
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely. I mean, you're obviously hanging out with a 25-year-old now, right? 25 years? It's already past your birthday, isn't it?
Well, that's not what Sawyer thought, and that's not what Jackson thought at first.
Oh, wasn't it like they thought you were way older or something like that, right?
Yeah, well, I think we were out at the house and we were talking, and I think Sawyer thought I was the same age as Logan. I think he thought I was 30.
Yeah, but then I think JP thought you were like 21, 22. So it was like I think they had opposite. I don't even know what
those
the
are
right
like two
word would be
completely
to say
different
there,
age
but
groups. What the heck?
Yeah. Which you can kind of see, like, the first time that you meet Steven, you're a little quiet. I think that's where JP kind of got it from. Is like, oh, you're on the younger side of things, and that was Saturday night. I think that we were talking about that. But then Sawyer's met you a couple times, and he's like, "Oh, dude, this guy's like 30. He's got to be." But no. So there's two completely different sides of Steven, and I think they both got both of those sides. And then there's me, who gets to see both sides all the time.
See every side of everyone.
Yeah.
I may have already showed Justin a couple of videos of what happened on certain occasions, but we won't talk about that.
Oh, great nights. Great nights.
Yeah, I know. Behind the scenes, there's been a couple of cameos, I should say, or interactions or whatnot. Like, especially when Steven's like out of town, like at a different tournament or whatever you guys go to. It's like always. I know you guys definitely party up a little bit for sure, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're there. We might as well. It's
Yeah.
not like we're gonna sit there at night and do absolutely nothing. And obviously, we can still go out and win. So, no harm, no foul.
Yeah, exactly. Just a couple of wiffle ball nerds sitting in one place. Might as well just do it, party it up. And then when you guys are drunk, you just literally talk about what kind of knife balls you guys use. Jesus.
No,
Okay.
that's just Steven. That is just Steven.
I feel like that would be a Steven thing, right?
Nobody else is talking about wiffle ball when they're drunk but Steven. All right. And I haven't even gotten to see that yet, but I just know that that's how
You
it's
have
going.
to, you have to be drunk first at some point to have that happen. Yeah, although I'm sitting here, I got a wiffle ball and a knife. Just
my.
dude, I ran out of cut balls on at the fast pitch tournament. I fully ran out.
So predictable.
I need a couple more.
Yeah, I've broken this year. I think I've probably broken like 50 balls, which is nuts. Like between my scuff balls, which break pretty easily, and then the knife balls that I'm getting from James, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the last two fast pitch tournaments alone, I've probably broken 20 balls. Like, it's weird. The Wiffle, dude, they need to just start sending us some balls because I'm going through them like nobody's business.
Seriously, those are not cheap either. Those are like $5 like a ball or whatever it is right now, and it's fairly expensive. Like getting a pack of 30 is like breaking the bank or whatever, just to get a whole thing of those things. And then like now you have to go through the process of putting time in to knife it, scuff it, whatever. Steven knows more about that than I do because I don't put as much time as like most other people do with the wiffle ball stuff.
You're saying you're not a nerd?
I mean,
the only one with glasses here is saying that he's not a nerd.
Yeah, I know, right? The one Asian dude who's like ready to go to physical therapy school and whatnot, and become a doctor is like not even saying anything about wiffle ball stuff. Ironic, isn't it?
Right.
But yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I guess if we're talking about nerds, I guess James Lee is probably the biggest one of them all. That's for sure, right? And then Joaquin's probably next in line for sure. We talked about that a little bit, right? I don't know. I guess I'll let Steven kind of open it up a little bit because obviously.
Let's get back on track here.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like Steven wants to share some other stuff that maybe he hasn't said yet with you because I know he's been saving a little bit. So might as well open the floor up to what he wants to share with everybody. I'm just gonna be here to listen.
Yeah. With this, with this trip and just what was kind of what was like if you had to pick one thing that kind of stood out as like your favorite, what would you pick that to be?
Oh, I mean, winning. I mean, I can't go against winning. That's got to be my favorite thing of all time. Like I love to win. I think I hate to lose more than I love to win, but. And I don't know what else to pick besides that because that just it meant so much to us or at least to me to be able to win that one. And I know it meant a lot to JP because JP was telling me about it Saturday night. Yeah. He really wanted to win this one more than one that he's ever played in before. So to be able to do that not only for him but for us and for the league and for the whole West Coast being able to represent, even though only half of us are from the West Coast, being able to represent like that was big and I know that we opened a lot of eyes and we're going to have a lot of people watching us, not only as a league, but in the future in fast pitch stuff. And hopefully we can make it back out there next year again. And I know if we do that, all eyes are going to be on us. And it's yeah, I think winning comes with a lot of perks, and so I'm happy that we got that job done.
100%. Yeah, I think even Kyle said it right before we got to the final. I was like, he kind of thought, he kind of knew this was going to be inevitable
Yeah,
for us
yeah.
to play in the finals. So, glad it worked out. It's like if you're gonna travel out there and you're gonna make it out there, you might as well just try to go win the whole thing, I guess. Is anything, like, obviously you talk to a lot of people out there, both within the league and even guys like that are around the league or not quite in it, but are around those guys a lot. Is anything about anyone that like really like surprised you or was different than what you would have thought compared to just seeing these guys in videos?
Honestly, I don't know. Like everyone kind of it's okay. The one thing that did surprise me is how many of those guys are fans of us. Like obviously almost everyone's a fan of MLW, but a lot of those guys would come up to me before I'd even come up to them. They knew who I was, they knew who we are. Obviously our blues got to be pretty iconic by now. But there's a lot of people coming up to us and like talking to us more than like obviously I went out and I talked to people like I do, but there was a lot more people coming up to us talking to us that I thought were, kind of above us, but they're all down to earth people, and I'm glad I got to meet all of them.
Guess it's
Yeah, absolutely.
guess it's time for you
Yeah,
guys to
man.
make some trading cards.
Okay. Okay.
Something else that was really cool is there were so many people with full books of MLW trading cards, like legitimately trading at the tournament, getting cards signed and stuff like that. I was like, because I heard about the trading cards, but I've never actually seen them. They are so dope. Like,
Oh yeah.
they're some of the coolest things that I've ever seen, and like every player has multiple ones, so it's like, I don't know, I thought that was one of the coolest like non-personal interaction type thing.
Yeah, they're cool. I
Yeah.
mean, we did it. We did a little bit of just like looking at the cards. I think a little bit a while back before we were doing this, but yeah, Steven's got his pack.
I did buy one pack there because I also I was buying I bought a shirt for Justin. Tommy wanted a hat, and I just bought a pack as well, just to see what they're like. I mean to be able to have enough cachet as a league and to have someone say, "Hey, I want to make some cards for you," is pretty cool in general. I'd say to be able to have them at that point, and then for us to be around them to be able to win their tournament just kind of puts the icing on top for me at least.
Yeah,
I mean,
Oh, of
yeah, I
course
mean,
it's
I
gonna
know
be fun.
Dustin said he hasn't seen them, so like
Oh, I got to see every single one. One of those guys, I swear, he had every single card. Like,
that's crazy.
I mean, he had a book. It was a full like binder, and he had every card was signed and everything. And it was
Okay,
like,
so that guy's a nerd for sure then.
yeah. But so I guess some of these cards will sell for like $50.
No way.
Yeah, that's what Sawyer and JP were telling me. It's like
So
they
so how much will this go for?
I don't know, but why didn't you give me that? I could have gotten it signed for you.
It's funny because I actually had Steven take these with him to the what was it was it the US tournament last year?
Dude,
Or?
I was gonna do. I don't know. It's like it's. I guess this is something that's kind of like
It is weird,
I just
yeah,
can't
yeah.
explain, but it's like like when you play like with and against these guys, it's like I feel almost like weird. I feel it's like the dynamic is weird. Like compared to like an MLB player where the dynamic just feels weird to where I feel like it's like I it's like I just don't feel like right almost asking for their autograph. I don't know. It's
See, I'm the
there's
opposite. The first time that I met Jordan Robles in Arizona, I came up to him like after we played him, like after we tied him in the first game. I came up to him because him, Bauer, and Sim were all doing whatever that they were doing. And I came up to him. I was like, "Hey, you guys signed my ball." Like I came up with, I have a signed Trevor Bauer. Like I don't know, but it's like stuff like that to me is still cool. Like
yeah.
regardless of how old I am, how close in age I am to these guys, like to have something signed by somebody, and I know it feels good for them too. Like because I know Sawyer pretty well now. Like him, JP, and Dal now. Like we're all pretty tight. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it might be a little like it would be something to laugh about more than anything. And to be honest, I'd probably make an excuse, be like, "Oh, my little brother wants you to sign this for me." But
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like for me, it's like when they either talk, like even just like talking to guys, it's like at some point I always know in the back of my head, it's like I might have to play you at some point, and I'm not, and I don't know. It's like maybe it's like I don't want the like the off factor to be there in some. I mean, because obviously there is some off factor. Like I felt a little bit of it going into that, like playing in that final and stuff. I think the second inning, I kind of just like realized where I was, and I was like, oh wait, I'm out here in I'm out here in the middle of Michigan. I'm out here playing against these guys. And it's like I mean, just surreal in that way. And then the next second, it's like we still need to play. We still need to try to win. We're up by 2 runs, and we need to try to maintain a lead. I don't know. I haven't been able. I haven't been able to figure out that dynamic yet for myself.
Yeah.
I will say that game felt like it almost felt like we were losing that game in every inning. Like, I don't know how to explain it, and I don't know if the video is going to do it justice, but I think 3 out of the 4 innings we got out of it with the bases loaded. Like, in the last inning, the last at bat, Sawyer was down 3-0, and then he came back and struck out, or he got Kyle to ground out. But it's like, I mean, one pitch goes wrong. Like, the 3-0 pitch literally hit the corner, like, and he was just lobbing it in there. So if that misses, then all of a sudden it's 2-1, and then that brings up Jimmy, I think, was next or something like that, or Dal, who I think it was Dal.
Yeah.
Dal had been seeing both of them really well, so I was like, we might just lose this game. Yeah, out of nowhere. Like we had a 2-0 lead, and then we might just lose it right now. But I don't know. It almost felt like we should have lost that game, to be completely honest.
That's an interesting way of like putting in that though, which is nuts. I guess it would also be kind of messed up if you like, because you guys beat them and then went up to them and be like, "Can you sign my way?"
Well, so we were trying to get Kyle over to the house Sunday night. Didn't work, but we tried really hard and we couldn't make it happen. And like we were trying to get a bunch of those guys over, but didn't end up working out. Yeah. But I don't know. Like something else is Jimmy. Jimmy is the most down to earth dude that you will ever meet. Like I can't stress it enough. He is like, obviously he's a superstar in MLW. Like he's one of the most well-known wiffle ball players out there. He's such of a cool dude, and he's so easy to talk to. Like, I don't know, him, Sawyer, JP, like almost all of those guys are really easy to talk to. There are a couple that are a little like, not like think that they're superstars, but like a little, I don't know, a little awkward to try to go up to and talk to. Like they're not like inviting. And I will say Crash is one of those guys, but at the same time, once you get to know him, he's a cool dude.
I think there's just like that kind of factor about them that probably is just how it goes. Like, especially like when you talk about like the levels that they've had to reach to get to like that title. Like Crash is obviously like just the same as Jimmy Nerd, like one of the most well-known guys. And then obviously Robles, I'm sure, also has that kind of title now because he's like considered one of the best in that league too. And there's a bunch of them too. Like now, like they're all kind of like that. But it's like now it's kind of like feels like it's kind of evening out like as you watch the games and whatnot. But then like I don't know how it feels because obviously you guys had the experience of doing it, but like it must feel a little bit more leveling now that you guys have played them, and then now obviously you have won literally a game against some of their like best players.
Yeah, I was talking to so I didn't even realize that it was Sunday that we played, because normally we play on Saturday. Normally we don't make it to Sunday if there is a Sunday to play in. But after the tournament was over, we were at the house, and I get out of the shower, and Dallas is just sitting on the couch, and I like hear my voice, and I'm like, what? I'm like, what is he watching? And then I go out there, and it was our new video, and it's like to go out there, watch, and just see him and Sawyer were sitting there just watching our video. I was like, it's like, guys, like that's weird. But then I get like how they feel then if we turn on their video, and it's like, I don't know. I forget where I was going with this. I'm not gonna lie. I forget what my point was. but there was some point. What was the question? What were you just talking about?
Well, no, the question was like, do you feel like you're on the like leveled with them?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
okay. Finishing the story. Okay, so we were all sitting there. We were watching. It was the Dolphin series, so we were watching. James had a near perfect game, and Dallas is like, "Man, these balls just don't look like they're moving." And I was like, "It's the camera angle, because when you look at it from behind, the balls are moving as much, if not more, than the guys in MLW.
Mm-hmm.
But from our main camera, it sucks. So I'm gonna try to switch that up after this year, get it a little bit further back, a little bit lower." Because it changes a lot. Like watching the MLW videos, those guys look like they're throwing hard and good pitches, and you watch ours, it does not look like that at all. Like it almost looks like we're getting cookies. And like, because Logan had told me before the season started, he was like, "Dude, your league looks so easy to hit in. How come nobody's hitting?" And then this year he hit like sub 100, even though it was a short sample. There's only 4 games that he played in. Like it took him, I think, to the 4th game to get his first hit. And then you realize like it's the camera angles. Like I think that we have the same top talent as MLW. Maybe not the 10 out of 10s, but we have the 9 out of 10s. You know, myself, Steven, Cannon, James, PJ. Like we can all kind of be placed in that to where we could go out and we can compete against their top guys any day of the week. The issue is if we take our bottom guys and put it against their bottom guys, we would get absolutely destroyed because their league has so much depth and talent. Like you could take the worst player on any one of their teams and they would probably make the starting lineup in just about any one of our rosters.
Yeah, that makes sense. But I mean, the league is also, I think SoCal Wiffle is also kind of changing a little bit too. Now there's a lot more talent coming in. And we talked about it before with some of the draft picks, like in a previous episode about like who's coming in here and what kind of talent is like flowing through the rings right now. How sick would it be if you guys had like a SoCal like All-Star game against MLW All-Stars?
It would be really cool, but a lot of things would have to go right to make that happen.
Yeah.
Like they would have to be back in Cali for something, or we would have to, like, obviously we don't travel as a league. We travel as a competitive team. So it's a lot different. Like they would have to be back in Cali for something and it would have to kind of work out the right way, or we would have to all make a trip up to Michigan or I don't know. It would be really cool, don't get me wrong, and I think it would be a lot of fun to take their best 4 against our best 4. Especially since our styles are so similar. But realistically, I don't think it'll ever happen.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, who knows? Keep it up there in the air, right? I'm sure that could be something, especially with the way that MLW is also kind of transforming. Now they have, the summer of stadiums type of thing. They've played at SoFi at this point. So they definitely have a lot of avenues to get there, but I'm sure there's a lot of workarounds on how they have to get people to these places because obviously, you're talking about a lot of money being invested into a lot of that stuff. So I'm sure there's a lot of out-of-pocket kind of stuff happening to get those things to happen, but also at the same time, like, you got to talk to those people. I'm sorry, Steven was about to say something earlier, and I think I cut him off, so going back, yeah.
I don't think you did. You keep going.
Okay, yeah, so like I'm saying, like, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that they have to deal with, but also, SoCal is improving. There's a lot of changes as well, and there's a lot of moving parts now, and I think we're starting to see that kind of go this way a little bit, which is is actually a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I will say that a big part of that has been not only Steven helping out with the social media stuff, so I can kind of focus on big picture stuff, but James taking over as the editor, the production has just skyrocketed in the last month or so. Like I know, obviously, us doing what we did this weekend kind of helped out, but the video from Sunday already has, I think we're close to 1,000 views, which isn't normally what we do in such of a short amount of time. Especially when you look at, like, I think we actually doubled our viewer count from the last video, which sucks because the one before that was mine, but it is what it is. Yeah, and I noticed like a lot of those guys following us after the tournament, and we got a lot more comments and stuff like that, and we're definitely headed in the right direction. But there is a lot of hurdles that need to be jumped before we're anywhere near the level of MLW, not only talent wise, but production wise and viewership and following. And if we do turn this into a business, awesome. If not, we're gonna keep having fun with it and take it as far as we can, and I'm gonna ride it out as long as I can, and I don't know, just keep having fun with it. That's really the main goal.
Yeah, I feel like that's is especially with wiffle ball and stuff. Like, for me, like, I mean, I am committed to doing wiffle ball stuff a lot, but I'm not like as committed as you guys are because obviously, you're running a league. Steven is helping run the league, doing all of these other things, trying to get the name of wiffle ball out there. I may per se not seem like I do, but I do want to. But because of the way like I want to do things in life, like it might be a different direction than what you guys are trying to do. But I do want to try to advance that in some way. But like yeah, obviously the big picture is just like like just having fun overall, like going out to these tournaments, seeing like what crazy stuff people can do with a little tiny plastic ball is nuts. Like being able to participate in like the tournaments that you run, and then the fast pitch stuff already is like already blown my mind how crazy it is, and then also just like the fact that it's like already happened. Like, oh my gosh, I am seeing all these ridiculous people that play worldwide, nationally ranked, all this stuff, and then actually like we talked about it before a little bit. Even like the some of the fast pitch stuff when we played against your team and when you had Tui, like it felt good just to get like a hit. Obviously, he had made an insane play, but yeah. Anyways, back to the main topic. Like it's just like the whole thing is just like just having fun. I think that's what most people think about when they're doing wiffle ball for sure. I think most people could say the same thing. I didn't. I That's why you guys are here, right?
Yeah, and like again, going back to talking to those MLW guys, like we all kind of have a overall same idea of like what the best thing is, and that's always doing stuff for the kids. Like what we did with FSC or with Golden Hill Little League last year was awesome. What we do with the Miracle League every year is cool. Like trying to focus more on that than it is ourselves is almost second, or it's probably most important, more than even us having fun, but keeping it fun for other people and growing the sport and everything like that. Like I've talked to Tom Gannon a lot recently about how we can really improve this sport and make it, because you see pickleball, like pickleball is huge now.
Yeah.
Wiffle ball honestly should be a lot bigger than it is, and any way that we can grow it is big because everyone grows up playing wiffle ball. I mean, like if you played baseball, you played wiffle ball, or just going out front with your dad or your grandpa or whatever, just someone to play wiffle ball with. Like a lot of the guys, you can pick it up at the store. A lot of these people have played it before, so trying to reach back out to those people and keep it fun is the main goal, and that's kind of how I think we continue to grow the sport and create maybe some jobs for people. I think it would be cool to make it to where not just Kyle and whoever else is involved with MLW is making money off of this, because it is cool.
It is cool. Yeah, especially when you get up to those higher production stuff, like especially for somebody who's actually trying to get into the industry, like there's a lot of moving parts but there's a lot of money involved once you get to like a lot of the big marketing stuff, which is like what you have been doing with the league, like with the advertising and stuff like that definitely helps you guys like elevate to a higher level than if you guys just didn't have those sponsors and whatnot. Um, like for example, like you see AWA Wiffle Ball, like the way they do their stuff, like you know some I don't know if it was AWA, but like getting onto ESPN, what was it, Ocho Cinco or something like
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah,
and then they also have what, Trevor May, who's playing in that league now, which is ridiculous. Like the
yeah,
amount of exposure that's starting to happen right now is starting to get through a little bit more, but like obviously, like you said, like it's just not at the level that it should be, and there's a lot of potential because I think there's a lot of people who do love playing the sport. There just needs to be like a collective investment to making it bigger. Like you went to, coming up in the nationals tournament. I think that team from Japan is gonna come out like the like you, if you can get
yeah.
that stuff like international, that's already like crazy enough.
Yeah, and there's been some talks about like I think there's four different potential national team or international teams. Obviously this year I think it's just the Wiffle Tigers that are coming out, but I've heard talks about like it growing and growing and growing, and hopefully in the future maybe we can have some sort of a qualifier thing where we do get more international teams out, and then we truly do see the top 40 teams in the nation, not just and hopefully, because I know we have a lot of talent out in Cali that can't make it because of funding and other stuff like that. Not only Cali, but the whole of the West Coast, and you look at the fast pitch scene, it's kind of dominated by the East Coast, and that's where everything's held, and trying to grow it out in the West Coast and kind of get people out. Like, yeah, international's dope. We're not even fully in the United States yet. We need to get that done before we even start looking to go international. We already have people coming over from international, other countries and stuff. So it's cool to look at the direction that it's going, but I think that there's a lot that needs to be done before we're in a place where the sport is happy.
Yeah, that's 100% for sure. I mean, Steven, obviously those ideals are kind of similar to what you've been thinking of, like the past couple of years, just trying to get the name of like SoCal out there, and then obviously you're participating more and getting stuff like SoCal more known about. I mean, what are your thoughts about just like the whole picture in general?
I mean, it's just about another avenue for people to either enjoy themselves or, for me, when I first started playing, I was kind of, I was trying to figure out where to get get off with the competitive edge. I mean, I'm sure Justin, with outside stuff, a lot of the stuff I do, I'm just kind of whether joking around or not, I'm kind of just competitive and stuff like that. And I like to make it competitive and fun. And when I first started playing, I wasn't really I wasn't doing baseball. I wasn't doing baseball at the time. I was coming back from injuries and stuff, and had a year off. And I was like, I wanted something to get that that's still that I could still be able to do going into the future, because obviously I'm not going to play. You can't play college baseball forever, and I'm not good enough to go play go play professional baseball and things like that. So for me, this has kind of been my competitive outlet to be able to continue to go compete and still have some fun and meet a whole different group of people. So I mean, seeing the way it has been going recently has been it's been good. You had the NWLA All Star Game. You had that live on ESPN. You had the NWLA tournament final. You had that live on ESPN Plus last year. So I think it's starting to get up there more and more. And I think even just the past couple 2-3 years since Dustin started the SoCal League, I think the amount of talent and the amount of interest has grown in a big way with new people coming out here. I mean, like last year, this was like a guy like Tommy Hernandez. Like last year was his first year ever playing wiffle ball, or like competitive wiffle ball, and now he's very much into it. And obviously, he's now in our league and had just hit 3 home runs in the most recent video that we had. So, I mean, just finding guys like yeah.
Like I said, I didn't really watch the video, but.
Quoting the commissioner.
See, I was there, but it was like 3 months ago. Like, I don't remember this. I'm not Steven.
Okay.
Got him.
I watched that video while I was on the 4.5-hour train ride back. But
of course you did.
You gotta do something. Gotta do something when you're out sitting on a train. You
just keep finding guys like that, and then it's just just word of mouth. Just tell just tell someone about it, and then they spread that to other people, and then you just keep going. You just keep going and going, and see how far you can keep going. I think it's definitely something that can grow more on the West Coast, especially. I mean, you have the SoCal, which is getting bigger and getting more known. POW is known by a lot of the guys out there. MLW, obviously, they just finished second at U17 last year, so I think a good number of people know about POW with the Vegas League. You have some East Coast guys that have played in there in the past, so I think it's going in a good direction. I mean, what's the end goal? I have no idea, but I mean, the end. I think it's really just to enjoy it and have fun and see what other people find it. See if other people find it the same way and want to keep going.
for sure. I mean, right, because there's not a lot of leagues out here in the West Coast. I think that's for, like leagues that are fully committed to doing things like MLW and UWIFs and whatnot related stuff, right? Like, there's
I
no
think that that's a good thing, to be completely honest with you.
really.
I do, because like obviously we have the three main leagues, right? We're kind of the Cali League, we have the Arizona League with BLW, and then we have the Vegas League with PLW.
Yeah.
I think that having one set goal for those guys should be the main goal. And like obviously there's different styles of playing wiffle ball, but if we can get a lot of these guys really good at one style of wiffle ball, whether that be fast pitch, whether that be medium pitch, that's I think how we end up growing everything as a whole with wiffle ball. Like yeah, we need the different leagues to get to kind of know the new talent and stuff like that, and get to see guys before they even come out to one of our tournaments or something like that. But I think that trying to condense the talent into one league in every state is or should be kind of the main goal. Like obviously MLW is kind of nationwide at this point. Well, not I guess not nationwide, but kind of got that East Coast. A lot of those guys from out there. I think we have a lot of California people. Obviously, we have Logan from Vegas. He was the first one for us. BLW's got a lot of the Arizona talent already locked up, and then they have Jackson coming out and Logan coming out. So trying to grow within the state, but also within the West Coast is kind of what I want to do. And I'd like to be known as the West Coast League.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously BLW is kind of ahead of us on socials right now, but I think we're ahead of them in connections. So we have some good opportunity to do stuff here, and getting more talent in the league is the main goal.
That makes sense. Yeah, because there definitely are just like little areas where like there's a lot of like talent, but there's not like places where they can just condense into one whole thing. Because especially like with how the league is this year, when you see like the draft and everything, that it's not just like from like the SoCal area. It's like actual people from like different, like not per se like bad leagues, but like smaller leagues, you know, that in comparison to like what you're doing with SoCal with like, you know, the Hoffmans and Hendricksons, blah blah blah, the Christies and all those guys coming in here, like those are all talent from different leagues, and then they're coming in and pouring in. So I see like where that is coming from for sure, because like those are different people now, just kind of being all condensed into one focal point, which is what I guess is what you're going for, right?
Yeah, and I will say, like, I think the first year, obviously, everyone was kind of within 10, 15 miles of the field. I think last year with the addition of, like, James and Steven and Jackson, it kind of expanded a little bit more to, like, 30-ish miles. And then this year with the addition of guys from further out, getting Joaquin, getting Tommy, getting Logan, I think year by year we're expanding, which is good, but we need to figure out, because I know that there's a lot of lost talent that is around the field that just doesn't even know about us because we're not that big yet. And once we do get to that point, I think we're going to see a lot of these random people kind of pop up out of nowhere that are from around the Fullerton area. And you got to think about like the Long Beach Whiffs kids. These kids are good. They're really young. They're going to be good soon. Jordan Lee, James's little brother, like he's going to be in the league pretty soon, even though you're whatever. But
yeah, I'm not gonna.
he's going to be good. Like there's a lot of talent that we haven't even touched yet in the Orange County area, and growing the league is going to continue to do that. Like we have Logan's coming from 4 hours away. You know, I mean, he's going to be here on Sunday for our playoff series. Like it's, well, I guess, yeah. Now they know we're in the playoffs, but whatever. He's going to be out here for that.
If they find it here, they deserve to know.
Yeah, that's fair. Someone would too. Someone's gonna. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Panthers are in the playoffs. Boom.
Wow, they made the playoffs every year. Wow, they're in it again. What a shock.
Yeah. Whatever.
Am I editing that out?
I don't think it matters.
Nah, I go just
I
keep
don't.
it.
I don't think we're popular enough. I think someone like 5 years down the road is gonna watch this though and be like, "Dude, what are you doing?" But
Just keep it.
yeah, no, like I said, growing it year by year, we've expanded the area. I think that we do need to figure out a way to get our condensed area a little bit better, but we're expanding the area, which is good, and I'm happy to see that type of a trend.
It's a good trend for sure. Like when you start getting to see that talent pull into one place, I'm sure it's a big deal. I mean, some big names already attracted there, but um, yeah, I guess now the smaller picture. Let's go. Let's focus on SoCal Wiff a little bit more since we're on the topic, anyways. But you guys we've already talked about the games already. Steven and I have already kind of broke down some of the games that have already come out, like the opening series and pretty much what's already came out, like the Dolphins. Like I think was the most recent series that came out. I don't know. What are you most looking forward to about this season in particular than maybe the previous season? Because we talked about it. There's a different zone now, right? You're adopting more UWIF's rules per se, and you're kind of evolving it to where it's more aligned with UWIF's rules than per se like MLW rules. Is there like a thought process to that, or is there just like a goal to that? Or I know it's a loaded question, but take your time, whichever
Well,
way. Yeah.
I think it's a great question because this is something Tom Gann and I have been talking about a lot is creating one style of wiffle ball that everyone can play and that has kind of incorporated all the different rules of things. Like I think him and I kind of have agreed that the one style of wiffle ball that needs to be played needs to be some sort of a variation of fast pitch with base running because if you're going to be a professional athlete, you need to be able to run the bases, you need to be able to make a play from short, throw it over to first, whatever. I think that we're kind of keeping it in the backyard style of things. There's a lot that is going to need to be changed, obviously, in this upcoming year. But I think that the zone change was big. I think that was good. I think that the bats all being the same, so that nobody cheats. We don't have another Phoenix situation. I think that was good. Um, and to be honest, I think that the star players are still star players. I don't think that the rule changes have changed that much because the pitching's the same. It's just the zone's a little bit smaller. The hitting's the same. It's just the bats are a little bit lighter. Um, if you miss the backstop, you deserve to miss the backstop. Like you deserve to get punished for that because that's a huge backstop. Um,
So me.
yeah, I mean, there's been a lot more than you think this year.
Oh, really?
Like
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because obviously I was one of the reserve players in the like one of the opening series, right? So I remember some of that stuff, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, yeah, no, if you miss that zone, you deserve to miss or just not be there, whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
but it's like with this year, obviously we're into the playoffs now. We've finished the regular season, so I kind of know how everything goes. Even though I don't remember every game individually, but I remember all the whatever. Um, a lot of the guys that were good last year are good again this year, and I noticed a lot of the guys that were bad last year are actually a lot better this year. There's a lot of good candidates for guys that like most improved. But it's also the hitting trend in this league is getting worse and worse by the year, and that's because of the pitching. And I don't think we get enough credit for how good our pitching is over here. Even with the smaller zone, batting average has dropped a lot. I think OBP stayed about the same, but maybe increased a little bit. But I think the league's entertaining in the spot that it's at right now. I don't really know what direction to go with it for next year. I don't know what needs to be changed, but I think that everyone's having fun this year. I think that the rule changes were good for the most part. Um, I think the biggest one was the playoff eligibility, having to play in 4 games or needing to play in 4 games to be able to play in the playoffs was huge and will shake up some things as the season progresses. Um, yeah, I'd like to open it up to criticism from you guys. I want to know what needs to be changed from your side of things.
I only played like one game and saw like one series, so like I can't be the guy to say that. But thanks for telling me that the zone was smaller because that when I had to replace Joaquin, that I was like, what? This thing seems kind of smaller.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We also weren't expecting you to pitch that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah, but
we'll work with Joaquin.
yeah, we'll work with Joaquin for sure. I'm sure that's a you thing. I was just there to be like the extra guy, so that's
Yeah.
not my department.
You were just there for the entertainment to give us some free bombs, which we appreciate.
Could have had two, and then the replay system was like, nope. No, just kidding.
Foul balls.
Hit him fair next time.
True. Yeah, that is true. That is true.
That is something else. That angle, like, it is so impossible to tell if it's fair or foul because it's not lined up with the line. So it's like even if we go to replay on those, it's like almost I think 9 times out of 10 they'd look foul, even if they were fair. Like it's a weird spot to, I don't know. It's weird to have a replay of an angle that you should have, but you don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's also the poles are kind of they're not straight up like in the air, so it is a little hard to judge. So I mean, I'm not complaining. Like I'm like, oh cool, I hit a ball off of this guy. Yeah, he's pretty good, got him. And then I think like even getting a hit off of like one of the best players on the Phoenix was like, oh, that felt great actually. But yeah, sorry, getting lost in the sauce. I mean, Steven's more the guy to kind of nitpick about the rule changes and stuff because but obviously he's more invested right now than I am because he's seen pretty much all the series that have been played.
You just going back to the nerd thing, are we?
I didn't say it. You said it, dude. You said it. I wasn't pointing to it.
I'm fine. I'm going my. Oh man.
He's trying to act like the victim here.
I mean, in general, I mean, I think, I think with the SoCal League, I think things are pretty good. I mean, hopefully we get to a point. I think some things just have to take a little bit of time. Sometimes you have issues where guys can only have. We saw, like last year, we'd see times where only one player can show up from a team for a certain series and stuff. I know there's been some rule changes or some stuff implemented to make sure also to make sure things happen on time and don't get delayed another 9 months or things like that. But I think everything is just all just like little stuff at this point, just in terms of I mean there could be discussions about a lot of things, but I think that could all come as the season ends and things like that.
I think that's like usually why people put out like end of the year surveys to like get feedback on that stuff. But then, I mean, I'm not saying that's like something you should do, but like, I don't know if there's some immature people in the league who would just write like, "I love you, Dustin," that type of thing.
No, they would say the opposite probably.
Yeah, they would say the opposite. Yeah, I would have to make it like you could not be anonymous. Like you would have to like link your phone number or something. Like
no free response questions. Everything's just multiple choice.
I see.
Yeah, I can imagine what Walker Randolph has to say.
Oh boy! Oh boy!
In an anonymous survey.
They're all gonna be watching this later. It's like, what the heck?
No, that guy will say stuff when there's not even a question to be answered. Like I'll be like, all right, this is like I think at the start of the season, I had told everyone the schedule for the year. Every 2 weeks was a slate. Like playoffs we're gonna try to do it every 2 weeks. Obviously, things have been delayed a little bit, but that's because it's playoffs. You need all your players, but and then Walker just instantly is like, Phoenix are cheaters. They suck. They shouldn't be in the league. They should start 0-2. I was like, dude, we're not even talking about that right now. But that's the type of guy that Walker is.
That's so funny, dude. That's crazy.
That's my captain.
That's your guy, Steven. You gotta talk to your guy, man. Shit. Yeah, well, I want to go back to the point that you made about like the pitching with the league and stuff. I think Stephen can also kind of attest to this too. Like us seeing it in a different league, like we seeing an evolution of how things just kind of go. I think it's just like a natural part of how it goes. Like with that batting and stuff. Like once you start getting to like the elite stuff where people's kind of getting all that kind of movement, then it's a lot tougher to get hits off of that type of stuff because that's just the nature of football. It's like it's supposed to be super nasty and it's supposed to look ridiculous. Like when we were playing in the OC Wiffle Ball League, it's like throughout the years you could tell that there's a significant like increase in the way pitchers were starting to pitch really well, and then on the other end, like there's like guys who hit pretty well started doing pretty bad, and then it just kind of percolated down to like a couple dudes who like still knew how to hit the ball and actually drive it, and then it was just those guys, and then like if you were lucky, you probably got like a 300, like 350, maybe a 400 batting average, and there was like what, like maybe 7 to 8 guys that had that batting average above 400 or whatever. So I think like that's just like a normal part of just how wiffle ball kind of evolves.
There are ebbs and flows within a league at certain times.
Yeah.
I think at this point with the Soka, I kind of think that this season the offensive numbers are gonna be down. I thought this going into the season, I thought they're gonna be a little bit down for the majority of people, and I think just the more you see people, because I mean there are a lot of guys who are going to pitch and be number 2 arms that or possibly could be one of number 1 arms in the future come in. I mean we'll see how Tommy transitions. I know he had a rough first game, but we'll see how we've seen him pitch in the past, and we saw him pitch well in the spring training game. Joaquin, you have Brandon Mayo, you have Logan's pitched a lot in BOW. You never know about him. I think this season going into this, I thought it would be down a little bit numbers wise, and I think next year you could start seeing some more offense and different things like that as teams get adjusted, as pitchers get adjusted to the zone, and as hitters really get adjusted to the pitchers. It's kind of it's kind of on and off for me each year.
I think that's a good point. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, something that we've actually been really, really lucky with is none of the top talent has left. Like, I know that's kind of become an issue in OC Wiffle Ball recently, is a lot of the top guys have left. Funny enough, we've taken a lot of the top guys, not, on purpose, but it's kind of how the cookies crumbled. But a lot of the top guys are staying, and they've been throwing this ball now for 3 years. I mean, they're really used to it. We play a lot. We do a lot of tournaments where you bring your own ball. I know we do quite a lot of scrimmages. I know a lot of the guys, like, from different teams scrimmage with each other. I get invited out to a lot of scrimmages that I just can't make because either my arm shot or I'm out of town doing something else.
Yep.
But there's a lot of people that play a lot of wiffle ball over the summer, and I think that this first slate of series, I still don't know what the right term there is. The first slate is not really going to project how good the pitching is going to be this year, especially with the guys that were top dogs last year.
Yeah, that makes sense. And actually, I was going to take it back to Steven's point about the numbers dropping, because I think he's also talking about the fact that there's a lot of newer guys that are also coming in, like, because we know Hoffman's and the Hendricksons, and we kind of hinted to this because they play well in OC Whiff because they've been there for a long time. They're getting into a new league with new style, different way of throwing stuff. They may struggle possibly in the first couple series or whatever, but they definitely will be better as they get more longevity and exposure to games like these, because they have the experience to do that type of stuff. But I think that's kind of why the numbers also have been kind of down, because there's like a bunch of newer guys who are also figuring things out, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I think Steven's right. I think that the hitting's going to improve a lot next year. Not only like from a number standpoint, but like just because people have seen so many pitches now. Like every time that you play in a series, you're going to see roughly 20, 30, 40, 50 pitches, just depending on how the series goes. Seeing every pitch makes you that much better for the future, and just getting more and more reps is huge. Like Tommy's coming into this league. Like he had a great first series, according to Steven. I don't know, I didn't watch it, but he had a great first series. So, and he's new. I mean, will it stay? Will he continue to be dominant like that? I don't know, because you get hot and you get cold as a hitter, especially in this league. I know all too well. Like the first season, I think I hit like 450. Last year I hit like 195. Like there's a huge drop off, and you got to credit it to the pitching. And every series is different. You could go 7 for 10 in the first series and then turn around and go 0 for 15 in the next. It happens more than it doesn't. So it's, I mean, taking it one game at a time, one at bat at a time, having the goldfish mentality that we had in this weekend in Michigan is the key. And a lot of guys, I think, are going to get a lot better next year. I don't think that this year, because of how short it is, I don't think that many people are going to improve throughout the season. But I think that next year is going to be a big jump, especially at the plate.
Definitely. I mean, you could also, that you're talking about the mentality stuff, like one thing's going to happen here, one thing's going to happen here. I think we already saw that, the first series, the Joaquin moment, and then obviously the second game when he got kicked out because of the speed violation stuff. I mean, he's also getting used to it too, because he's more used to the fast pitch stuff. But actually, I wanted to get your reaction here on this, because obviously we saw your reaction from your call on the game itself. Actually, I know Steven was hinting at what he saw from your reaction, but like, I mean, what were your thoughts about just the fact that Joaquin actually hit a grand slam?
I don't think I could have called that more perfectly. I think that was exactly what I was thinking then and exactly what I'm thinking now. And if I had to point out one moment from the season, I mean, obviously I already know their whole regular season. I think that there's only one other moment that would rival that specific moment. And I mean, that it was history. I don't know how else to put it. I think that single home run might have been the craziest thing that I've ever seen happen in our league.
I honestly, even just back when we did, I genuinely thought that could be like a moment of the year, right there, just right away, first game of the year.
Yeah, I think
just like last year.
Yeah, last year the most clutch moment. I gotta find a better name for that. Whatever. I gotta figure out a better name for this year, but that like most clutch moment last year happened on opening day, game 1, if I'm not mistaken. It might have just happened again. Like, I mean, that was nuts. that home run was crazy, and I'm so happy that Joaquin was able to do that. But yeah,
I wasn't believing it too, like, because I was standing in third when that happened, and I'm just like, I was telling Steven this, but like looking at that thing, like I was like genuinely like thinking like, okay, this is probably gonna like hit the wall. We're gonna get maybe score one run here or whatever. See that thing like sail over the wall. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
I was just like walking to the plate. I was like, whoa, okay, that just happened. Obviously, it's like a big deal because it's like a Bartolo Colon type of thing. Like, a pitcher who doesn't really seem like he can hit a home run, then all of a sudden, boom, that type of stuff happens. Not comparing Bartolo Colon and Joaquin because they're two different body sizes, obviously.
Yeah, you got the stick man that weighs like 98 pounds, he said, and then Bartolo Colon who's pushing 450.
Right, exactly. I feel like we don't give Joaquin enough credit, but I mean, also we joke a lot with him, but he's a cool guy about it. So, I think that was a really nice moment for him for sure. But then obviously the second game obviously wasn't as great as you'd imagine it was, and then we also had he had to leave, like towards the end of the game, and then we have the rule where every time he's up, it's an out. So, yeah. But either way,
that rule does come from UWIF for anyone that watched the video and is magically watching this too. It's a UWIF rule, especially this deep into it, dude. We've been going for like an hour and a half. This deep into it, it's a UWIF rule. So it's if you're out for a non-medical reasoning or anything like that, and you are a guy down of what you started, and you don't have a replacement guy, which I guess we don't even have subs in this league, so that wouldn't even work. It's an automatic out every time that you're up, not just the first time. Which in the future or in the past, I think we've done just the first at bat. In the future, we might go back to just that first at bat. But it's stuff like that like we don't see very often. Like we see it once. I think that's the first time that it's actually happened in the last 2 years. And of course, it was on opening day. Like, of course, it was the first series of the year.
Yep.
So then we deal with that for the rest of the season because I'm not going to change the rules in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. Like I've heard about it so many times now, but I can't change it until the season's over. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess it's a good thing that it happened in the first series then rather than like happening way down the road and then people start like complaining about it. They're like, this type of thing. But yeah, I mean,
And I wasn't complaining about it, but I just didn't know it. Like I didn't know we were going in that direction. That's all.
yeah, and like there's more stuff that happens throughout the season, especially as we
oh boy,
get later on. That
You just wait.
buckle
I mean,
your seats.
buckle up.
Not quite yet. You got a while.
Yeah, we
Got
got
a
a
while,
while,
okay.
but it's still like you notice that the guys that know the rules play the rules very well, and the guys that don't know the rules end up mad at me, even though they've been the same rules for 3 years now. It's kind of funny to watch that because you can kind of tell like
Who's
like
paying
yeah,
attention?
all these guys are very competitive. Some of these guys aren't as athletic, so they take a more like I don't know what the correct term is, but they use their brain more and to
Or
try
more
to win some
strategic
ball games.
approach.
Yeah, strategic approach. Yeah, I'm still fried from this weekend, but like Mitchell Downing is really good at that. Like he knows the rule book in and out. Like sometimes he'll correct me on things, and I'm like, okay, like I believe you, but I'm gonna go look it up again. But I believe you, so
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's what sets the good players from the great players, because obviously they're aware of certain things. And you know who's actually paying attention to the rule book, because that's obviously a thing. So I mean, hey, they could be watching this right now, and they're like getting all of this insight about everything. So we'll see who the nerds are and who's not the nerds, I guess, per se.
Yeah, if you're watching this, you might just join the nerd club.
Yeah, literally, for real.
SoCal nerd group chat. Just us three and James, Mitchell Downing.
Yeah, basically, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I've been talking a lot. I feel like Steven has. I mean, do you have anything? Just about in general.
I'm good. I don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't hold Dustin here too long. It's been a long weekend. Just
It's so funny
you know,
because I said like Dustin's coming on. We're gonna be here for a while, and then Steven's like, "No, we'll see how it goes." And then he's like,
my plan was to like keep it short, not ramble on too long, and then here's Justin just talking about all sorts of stuff. You know, it is what it is.
I think we talked about some good stuff though. Like I'm not gonna lie, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we got a new season going. I mean, there's some
Yeah.
stuff that's already happened. I mean, I'd love to be on again after the season's out, or maybe after UIFs when we go out there and win that thing. But you know,
Ooh, confident.
it's cool to hop back on every once in a while because everything changes in the span of 4 months or whenever it is that I was last on there. So it's cool to be able to hop on and
It does. Wait, did you have the mustache the last time you were here?
I think I did. I could be wrong.
I thought.
I don't know when I was last on there. I think it was after after the winter Wiffle thing.
I feel like it was like 11
I
episodes ago.
I don't know if you with UIFs.
No way.
Was it before UIFs? No way, dude.
I think UIFs might have been the last time he was on.
No way, it's been a year.
That's a year ago, dude.
It's nearly. Obviously, we talked about you a lot because after UIFs, obviously you were with the LA Wolfsville C for a couple seasons and stuff.
That was the UIFs tournament. That was 9 months ago.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the last time you were on.
Oh boy.
Man, I better get a new photo this time. Got the same photo up there 2 times in a row.
It's yeah. Okay, I think during the time I was trying to get photos from Steven, and he's like, "Here's these ones," and I was like, "Oh."
I didn't have any because at that point we really hadn't had any Ellie Wifflesville Sea
Yeah,
games yet.
yeah. We didn't have a
I'm like,
lot.
I'm not taking pictures yet.
I have a lot now,
The
obviously.
only one we had was like you in a group picture, and your shoulder, like, you're right next to is that Chris and Jordan from that
I remember
summer?
that from the tournament. Yeah.
I also have
Yeah,
you in the Pedro costume twice.
Oh, no, to you.
He's
That
in,
was Napoleon Dynamite, all right.
yeah,
That
the
was not
Napoleon
Pedro.
Dynamite, and then the one with the astronaut helmet on his
man.
head too.
That better be front center of this video. Just saying.
I think we can make that work.
I think for this one I think it's probably the picture of you guys holding the trophies at the tournament.
We can always edit it. We can
Yeah.
always edit it.
As
All
long
right,
as it's not the one of us sitting around that
Oh.
damn strike zone. That is the world's worst photo, and I did not believe Jimmy when he was telling us that. He goes,
Well,
"You guys are gonna regret this," and then I looked at it that night. I was like, "Oh, I regret that." It was a bad photo.
I haven't even seen the photo. I don't know how bad it looks.
Oh, we all look horrible. I'm not sending anyone that because that will come back around to me.
Oh man,
This is not something I want.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate you having me on. Don't want to keep too much of your time. I mean, it is nearly 11 o'clock at night, and
Yeah.
we just got back recently, and I'm sure you got to keep working. You got to get ready for Saturday and stuff. But congratulations to you for just one tournament out there, one championship out there. It was congrats to the captain, and we will.
I have nothing to kiss. I'll kiss him a water ball.
And we will see how this keeps going. So thanks for coming on and joining us.
Oh, before you go,
Uh-oh.
last thing I promise. Ladies and gentlemen, feast your
Oh my god!
Wow. Wow.
So there's actually 2 more other T-shirts. They're gonna be worn by Chris and Ethan for the lead team that we're doing. I want to bring this on it because you're both on here and we're playing on different teams, but that's a little preview of what's gonna be out there.
What's Tommy gonna wear?
So Tommy was supposed to wear "I'm with Lee" T-shirt. Unfortunately, he said he ran out of money for some reason, so his budget was not up for it. So he is not getting the T-shirt. But I think we're gonna duct tape it to a shirt on him now.
Probably from buying the moonshot, I guess.
Yeah, probably something like that. Yeah, I think that's probably what it was. But yeah, sorry. Anyways, yeah, that's gonna be out there. Little preview for all the people who have been following the video so far.
Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, we'll sign off for now. And we'll let Dustin get on with this day. But thanks for coming on.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. Pleasure to be on as always.
Thanks, Dustin.
Oh, Jesus, you had to throw it. All right, thank you, Dustin, for coming on. Appreciate you having you on again for the third time. You're getting the past version of Steven, so I don't know what all was said, but we
Sure, a lot of juicy
appreciate
stuff.
Yeah, well, there should be. We can't share everything. We can't share everything on the podcast, but we appreciate you coming back to talk with us and kind of go through how all this happened and everything worked out and all that. So, as I mentioned in the first part, I couldn't stay Sunday night, but I heard Sunday night was a very fun night for the guys. That's all I'll say. So.
Yeah, from what I've seen.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, very fun trip to go out there. Good to meet a lot of the guys. Just good to talk with a lot of different guys and see what they're like. One guy I didn't mention though, who I talked a good amount with was Preston Colm of the Mallards. He was around our games, watching our games a lot, and I was talking to him. We were talking to each other a good amount about different Wiffle stuff and things like that. So I think besides the guys that were at the house, yeah, like Jimmy Norb, RJ Walgate, and Preston Cole were kind of the main 3 that I talked to. I personally talked to. Dustin did a lot. Dustin did a lot more as he's trying to work some stuff out with that league. But I ended up talking, just being in conversation with a lot of guys. So that was cool to experience. But yeah, we'll probably see a lot of those guys again at York, Pennsylvania for UIFs in October, and until then we'll see what happens.
Yes, we will. We will. There's a lot to still go on, even with like MLW videos. There's still going on. They have their like mini MLB series coming up. They've got this that. I mean, they've gone through the All Star game and the Home Run Derby already, which is pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, let's talk about what happened on July 27th, which was the fast pitch tournament up in Upland, which is this makes it the third one now that's happened
Yep.
already. This one was actually a little bit different because the game was kind of changed up, so to speak. So I'll let you take it away since it was kind of like it cascaded from one thing down to another thing, and then it kind of just developed like in a strange way. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that it did. I mean, so the first two of these tournaments, we've had an LA Wiffles team out there. At both times, it's actually been us two, then Jordan Drushler, Tommy Hernandez, and Vinny Casella. And for this one, it was going to be a little bit different. Dustin wanted to get some UWIFs practice and want to get some experience playing together, so I ended up playing with the SoCal team. And then Jordan was unavailable, and then there was some other stuff going on within the team, but between just some things to work out. And I think they've been worked out as of now. But I mean, Vinny is technically like a pickup with us. He's not like officially on the team. He's on like a substitute almost in some way, like for the guys like Joaquin Jimenez and James Lee. So you want to try playing with a different team. So I'm not gonna stop someone from trying something different, do what they want to do, and so we didn't end up having another Whistles team. Vinny ended up playing with Brian Owens and the Spitfires, and so we kind of had to figure out what to do with the rest of the team, see who all wanted to go, who all still wanted to go, and figure out what teams to play on and stuff. So. We ended up taking Tommy Hernandez. He came to play with Dustin and I and Cannon and EJ for the SoCal team. And then Justin and actually Chris came out for the first time as well to one of these tournaments. But Justin and Chris came out to play they play with the Outlaws, which is with Jeff Roboto, Larry Diaz. I can't remember the name of the other guy. What was the name of the other guy? The guy who pitched to us.
I'm trying to look through my thoughts right now. I kind of like slipped my mind a little bit. Yeah,
that's fine. We know what we're talking about. I can't remember his name though. But yeah, that's how it kind of split up. And then there ended up being 7 teams at this one. There were a couple
Mark, that's what it was.
Oh, Mark. Okay,
Yeah.
Mark was his name. Gotcha. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
So we ended up splitting across some different teams. No other Wiffles team, but we still actually had more teams at this tournament than there have been so far.
Mm-hmm.
If there were 8, it would have been perfect in terms of a tournament style. But we had 7. You had your regular teams out there who have been out there the whole time. You had SoCal. You had the Outlaws. You had Spitfires, and you had who was the other one that's been out there pretty much every time? Well, actually, those are only 3 that have been out there each time so far.
Yeah.
This one, you had the return of the O-Bombers, which were without Sylvie Serrano for this one. You had, Peter Mockabee brought out his UWIF's team,
From
the Las
Vegas.
Vegas Knights. He was playing with them. He wasn't playing with Spitfire, so Vinny basically just replaced Peter Mockabee for the weekend. And then you had 2 new teams come out, both from out of state. You had from Arizona, you had Big League Wiffle Ball, BLW bring out a team, which they brought out a really good team. And then you had the and then you had the Las Vegas Wifflers, which included the likes of Steve Trippus, Jordan Bonet, and then I want to say it was either Steve's son or nephew or something like that.
I think it was either because he had the same last name on that jersey.
Yeah, he had the same jersey. He had the same Steve Treppis on the jersey. So that was the 7 we had out there. So a little bit different, and a little bit different not to be playing on the same team as like you or Tommy and things like that. But I know at the end of the day we had to make it work. So everyone kind of went along their separate ways. At the end of pool play, you had 3 3-0 teams, which were BOW, you had SoCal Wiffle, and you had the Las Vegas Wifflers were all 3-0. You had the 2-1-2 teams, which were the Las Vegas Knights and the O Bombers. And then you had 2-0-3 teams, which were the Spitfires and the Outlaws. I'll just start this with you. I'll just start this with you first.
Sure.
We haven't played we haven't played on different teams very much in our football careers. How did that feel? Kind of the 27th, just being out there with a different group.
It's great when you don't have to hear some guy's annoying voice all the time saying,
Hey, that was my joke.
No,
that was my joke.
I'm embracing it. You get to take a break from a guy who's kind of breathing down your neck all the time. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, 'cause I'm just so much taller than you. Okay.
Wow. All right. We're pulling the short jokes here. Every single time. See, this is why I enjoyed it more. I enjoyed it more than I did last time. So it was great just to not be on the team. See, look at this. He's throwing this shit at me, man.
You set me up perfectly. I'm sorry. I had to take it.
I should just go side with the trash pandas. What the heck?
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. In all seriousness, it was definitely a different experience because you get to see and play with some guys who actually play a lot of wiffle ball compared to like me, because I'm still like fairly. These are guys who have like played it for like nearly a decade, maybe even more.
I'm not sure about that long. I actually think from what I've heard, actually, like Larry has not like played he's more a recent guy as well. So I mean, there's different people, different experiences.
Yeah, I mean they're definitely on the older side, obviously, because they've been they're a couple dudes who just like playing wiffle ball. Like they have regular lives. Like Jeff Roboto's like a teacher at a high school and a college, that type of thing. He's like that kind of level type of thing, right? So yeah, they were cool about everything. I mean, they're probably some of the nicest, like coolest dudes. They're just out there to have a good time. Just do a little bit of wiffle. They don't care like if there's a big win or big loss. They just want to make sure like everybody's having fun. And I think like when you had me and Chris on the same team like that, like it kind of. It was just like overall just like the team aspect was really nice just to be out there. And then I didn't even know this at the time, but they told me Jeff was the guy who I was texting to because he was the guy who's the captain, right? So he was telling me like we need pitchers. I said, oh, okay, well I guess because I'm still figuring it out with the pitching stuff. So I was like, all right, I guess I might as well just do it. And then Chris came along. I was like, yeah, why not? Because he's a pitcher, Long Beach State club baseball team. Why not? He's done SoCal tournaments. Yeah, why not? Just first time getting a taste of fast pitch. Actually didn't do pretty bad when he was playing out there. I guess. Well, I'll
pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, should I go into the details about the games and whatnot, or just kind of the overall like?
If you want to, go for it.
Okay. Well, yeah, we got it there.
A tough draw.
Yeah, we did. Jesus. Well, yeah, we kind of got dealt the like really tough hand. I don't think our guys were kind of expecting it. Like we just kind of did. Actually, so the first game we actually ended up playing the Vegas guys. Not the Vegas Knights. Not their team. We actually
Vegas Knights was Maccabee's team.
Yeah, Maccabee's team. Yeah, that's right. So we played the Vegas Wifflers the first game. I mean, obviously, Steve and I know how crazy those guys can be and how well they pitch. So it was interesting. So Mark was the first guy to go pitch out there. He actually did pretty well. The game was 1-0. Literally, that was the score of that game. Somehow held those guys off. Good defense, all around. Actually, maybe a few couple mistakes, but like I think that just kind of happens, especially when you have like this is the thing I noticed was like the tall grass when you're ever playing out there, it's always like a definitely in trouble because the ball bounces different. Sometimes the ball just like will stop in the middle of the grass when you hit it. Looks like it's a bunt, but it's like comes off like 2 inches from like the foul line or whatever, and you're like really, if you're on defense, like it sucks for you. If you're on offense, you're like, oh, okay, I'll take that kind of thing. So yeah, it happened a lot actually. Like even in the second game, it happened a lot, and you could tell the other teams were kind of like mad about it. It's like, well, what are you gonna do about it? Like you can't do anything about that type of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, second game, I think we had that was against Maccabee's team. We were actually doing pretty well in that one. That was the game that Christopher started pitching, and then we got to the third inning, and then they started figuring out like the pitches and whatnot. So they started hitting the ball a lot better. Actually had some pretty good hits. Jeff had a really nice one off the back fence. It was a triple. We just didn't get the runs in, so we didn't really score as much. So I think our run differential was like -10 by that point. So it was kind of down there. Third game was against I think it was the O Bombers, right?
It was.
Yeah, didn't realize how good these guys, like how really good at hitting they were. Because the first inning, actually, that was the one I pitched, which was not. The first inning did not go bad because I just got like little grounders, pop ups, got out of the first inning pretty well. Chris and I actually went back-to-back home runs in that first inning in that game, and then went back out there, started pitching again, and that's when things started falling apart immediately. They started hitting well. They started figuring out where pitches were being placed, and then by a third inning, it was pretty much kind of like over. So we actually called it because it was technically mercy ruled. So we just played through the third and fourth inning, and then we just called it, and that was it. And I think our run differential was like down to like -21 by the time we got to the championship bracket, blah blah blah, that type of thing. So yeah, that's where we ended up, but it was still fun. I don't know. Actually, you should probably talk about your stuff first because obviously,
I was stopping before you get to
that thing, that thing that's about to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So for us, obviously, we're playing with SoCal. We started off with the Vegas Knights with Mockery's team. I think we beat them 12-0. It was like 12-1 in 2 innings. We just jumped on them early and we just hit them all and getting on base. Second game, it was versus the O Bombers. That was a close game for us. That was a 3-0 win for us. And then third game, we were playing. Who did we play? Who did we play the third game? We were playing Spitfires. It was funny. You had Vinny pitching against us. Unfortunately, he struggled. I think we won that one. It was something like 8-1 or something along those lines. I can't remember for sure. It was either like somewhere between the amount of 5 to 9-1, somewhere around there. Ended up going 3-0. So I think like the Las Vegas Wifflers just barely got the 1 seed due to runs. It got down to runs allowed. It even got past run differential and stuff like that. SoCal got sat at the 2, BLW at the 3. You had the Vegas Knights at the 4, I think. You had O-Bombers at the. I think you had O-Bombers at the 4, and then you had Vegas Knights at the 5. And then 6th seed it was the Spitfires, which that's a tough 6th seed.
Yeah.
And then you had the 7th seed, which was the Outlaws. So 1 seed gets the bye, and so 2 and 7 are playing each other. So we ended up going up against each other. I think this may be the first time we've ever played against each other in a Wiffle game. Like an official Wiffle game. I could be wrong.
I mean, I guess if you discount the OC Wiffle Ball All-Star games, then I think sure.
Oh yeah. I don't count that.
Yeah.
An All-Star game, I don't really count, to be quite honest. I mean, that's just a one-time thing versus like a tournament or a season where it's like a full day or full season thing. I think this was our official first time playing against each other.
Yeah.
We had a close game for a 2-7 matchup, I'd say. SoCal did end up coming out with a win with a 4-0 win. We had Ethan Johnson pitch, and unfortunately he forgot his wiffle ball at his house. From what I heard, he kind of slept in a little too long, was a little late, and then he forgot all his wiffle balls at his house, so he was using balls he wasn't comfortable with. And I think got the first 2 guys out, and then walked 3, and then we decided to go to Dustin. Dustin, I think, had pitched like 4 innings already through the day, and he got us through the game with a shutout. And then there wasn't a whole lot of offense from us until I smoked a 3-run home run, which went so high it hit off some power wire.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah.
Yeah, which should have been. I mean, without the power wire, that's gone by a lot.
Yeah, it was gone by a mile. It's so funny because the rule is that if it hits the power line, comes back in, it's a double. But it hit the power line, went down off the fence, top of the fence, bounced out, and it was like, oh well. Shit.
Had it not gone over, had it hit the fence and not gone over, I would have probably said it was a triple since it did hit the fence.
Right.
But I mean, it should have been a home run regardless.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Jordan's had that happen to him. Like, I think we talked about that before. He hit one off the line too, and that ended up being a double because it actually bounced back instead. But because I think the wind was helping a little bit, that's why it went over the fence in that sense. But I mean, also the power. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we end up winning that one 4-0. Um, it was a good battle. Good to play against you. You get a little different experience to see if you ever want to leave me.
If you keep making short jokes, I think that might be a reality. So you better watch your mouth, man.
It's just the way I manage. Don't worry. I do it to everybody. No one's safe, including myself.
No, literally, nobody's safe.
The amount of fat jokes I make about myself, but okay, whatever. Anyways, so we get to the semifinal. Unfortunately, your day is done, so you get to go home early.
Yay! I'm just kidding. It was hot, man.
Oh yeah, it was. It wasn't as hot as this previous time. It was probably still up, and it was probably still up to 90, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe got up a little bit past that. I can't remember, but you got to go home. I mean, you had stuff to do anyway, so you needed to go home.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up moving on to go play. We ended up playing BLW, which that team I think it was all three of the Rose brothers, Carson, Logan, and Luke, along with Jackson Blum and Brody Livingston. Which that was, and they just came off of a tough extra innings win versus the Spitfires, and which Braden was pitching for them. So they just came off of that. And that's when I came in to pitch. That was my first pitching of the day for the semifinals. It was me versus Jackson on the mound. First inning? First inning, Jackson. We're the higher seeds, so we're the home team for this game. We're the 2, they're the 3. They get a couple base runners on due to a walk and a hit, but I end up don't allow a run on the top of the first. Jackson goes 1, 2, 3 in the bottom of the first. Top of the second was pretty much the same exact inning. No runners on first and third again, but no runs allowed. I got a strikeout to end it. And then the second inning happened, and then I think our bats really got going. Cannon led off with a walk. Dustin had throughout the day, I had like about 4 or 5 of those cheap little ground balls that get caught in the grass just past the fair foul line. Dustin had one of those that was called a single. And then I stepped up. I hit another 3-run home run off of Jackson, give us a 3-0 lead. And then from there we just kept going. The bats were working good. We got on base, ended up scoring 5 in the bottom of the second to give us a 5-0 lead. Top of the third came around. Jackson got a hold. Jackson Blum got a hold of one for a solo home run, but then I came back and got the next 3 guys out. And then the bottom of the third, I had another 3-run home run off of Jackson. I think I had a single to lead off the inning, and then I had a 3-run home run with 2 outs or something along those lines. But and then Cannon Rabbit came in, pitched the last inning of the game, and we ended up winning that 1-8 to 1 to move on to the finals. So very, very interesting. Interesting to talk to those guys as well. My first time really kind of talk a little more with those guys, especially like Brody Livingston, things like that. But good way to get the win. Actually, funny enough, it's my first win out there in Upland this year. My previous 2 games I had pitched were both against SoCal Wiffle, which of course is against Dustin, who probably knows me the best out of anybody in terms of fast pitch. So my first win out there, and we ended up getting matched up versus the Las Vegas Whifflers in the finals. So I went back on the mound. I continued. We had a fresh Jordan Bonet out there who hadn't pitched yet the whole day, and his finals was his 1 pitching appearance. So it was going to be an uphill battle for us. I pitched 3 innings at that point, but actually we got started off pretty good. Actually, Dustin led off the second pitch of the game. Dustin had a base hit to get us started, a little jam shot that got to the outfield, and then Jordan locked it. I couldn't hit it for the life of me. Sorry, I'm getting tired talking about it, but I literally just woke up a little bit before this. So
I was like, it's only been like 10 minutes since we started talking about this.
I just got off of that before we started the podcast, but
Yeah.
I'm still tired from that trip, I guess. But um, I went out there. I was actually pitching pretty good. I think Steve he led off with he had a walk and a single in his first two at bats. But then after that, actually, funny enough, Jordan and I we were actually just trading zeros for a while. Jordan more dominant, a little more dominant than me, less base runners on things like that. But we did our chances. We had our situations where we were close to getting on base, but like I said, I just couldn't get on base or much at all versus him. But look, these are 4 inning regulation games. This game actually ended up going to the 8th inning. Just me and Jordan trading zeros. I believe this, and it got to the point where we started putting runners on base to try to speed this game up. So, like starting in the 6th inning, you start with a runner on first. The 7th, you start with a runner on first and second. The 8th inning, you start with bases loaded, nobody out. So some nice defensive plays in there as well. I think I had a couple one running and one diving play to get a couple outs. The 7th inning, they had bases loaded, nobody out in the bottom of the 7th. I mean, bases loaded, one out in the bottom of the 7th, and we get a good double play, ground ball to Cannon. Goodson cleanly throws it to Dustin, and Dustin gets the out to save the game and keep the game going. Top of the 8th, I think I got on base like once the whole game. It was in the 8th inning. I work a walk, and because we start in the 8th inning with bases loaded, and actually ended up bringing in a run. So we're up 1-0 going into the bottom of the 8th. And so I come out. Keep by this point, I'm going to my 11th inning of work right here, including my 8th one in a row because this game has just been going 8 innings. I somehow managed to get the first 2 guys out on strikeouts. I'm not sure how, but I think both of them I came back from 3-1 because if I walk a run, if I walk one of them, then a run scores and it's a tie game. And then we got 2 outs, bases loaded. I get Steve Trappist up to the plate. First pitch I throw to him, I throw him a little inside riser. If you look at the swing, I can send you some videos just because I have a couple of videos from this game as well if you want.
Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, I might as well see if you want to put them in. He gets a piece on the ball. I remember looking at slow motion. He doesn't actually get any barrel on it. He just gets like the middle not quite. It was like in between the barrel and the handle is where he got it. It went to left field. A pop up. It was like a line drive / pop up over Dustin's head. They had Dustin and Ken on that side. They both run to the ball. I believe Dustin lost it in the sun, and ball ended up dropping on the ground, which in that case, that's a clean single, and that scores 2 runs, and that's how the game ended. So we ended up losing that one 2-1 in 8 innings. I'm very proud of it overall. I'm proud of my pitching. I'm proud of us as a team, and proud of our pitching. Proud of me as a pitcher to be able to stay in a game like that and not suffer too many runs suffer too many runs there. So overall, we did end up losing that one 2-1 in 8 innings though on that walk-off hit. But it was a long day overall. That game didn't finish until like 6:15.
It's a pretty late game. I think we the last time it went fairly late to like 5 or something like that. I think there's more teams too, so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this final game it took like an hour and a half. Jordan and I were pitching pretty well, but it was just. We played 8 innings. You play that many innings, it's gonna take a while.
Yeah, and then you're also like you have to go throughout the week. Like your arm is probably sore like the rest of the time being. So yeah, it's a lot. These fast pitch tournaments like take a lot of you. I think like my brother was saying like when he did the SoCal tournament, like his arm was like definitely like sore after. Like I think after this fast pitch tournament, it was like he told me it was like really sore. I was like, yeah, that can definitely do it to you when you do a fast pitch tournament.
Yeah, 100%. So this was the week before the Michigan tournament. Then I was going to Michigan. I was just sending you some videos. Don't worry about it. I was going to the Michigan tournament. I was like, oh, I'm not going to have to pitch very much. I'm going to get a chance to give a little bit of the break in the arm. Nope, we already talked about that. I went 10 innings and things like that. So, but yeah, that's just what we do out here. I just throw, I guess.
Yeah, you
but
probably get
yeah,
to do some more coming up this weekend too.
yeah. Well, hopefully I won't have to do too much, but actually my arm actually feels a lot better right now because I forgot. In between all of this, I had my arm hurt. That's right. That's how long it's been since we recorded. Is when I was. This would be. What's the date on that? What would be the date? Be
Today's the 7th.
July. July 18th, I think it was.
Somewhere
No,
around there.
it was July 11th. I was pitching in baseball, and so I started the game for the Mavericks. I was just with the Mavericks and stuff. The third pitch I threw, I took a line drive. I took a line drive straight off the elbow here. Probably blew up to about this big, and or maybe not. It probably blew up to like this much or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, he crushed. I mean, he probably hit it a good 80. It was probably a good like 85, 90 exit velo off the bat, just straight to my elbow. So, I mean, at first I wasn't going to pitch in this fast pitch tournament at all because I was like, I'm just going to take it easy and just wait until we get to Michigan and be able to pitch a little bit. But my arm started feeling good after a few days, and I mean, luckily it was needed because I threw 10 and 2/3 innings at fast pitch and all in the semifinals and the finals. So it was needed.
Yeah, definitely was needed. So, well, you're gonna have to get. You got a lot to bring back this weekend. So.
Yeah. Plus, we got this weekend. We got OC Wiffle that's going to start up in a little bit. So I got baseball that's going to start up in a couple months. We got York, Pennsylvania. So it's like I need to find a break for my arm at some point. I mean, actually, that kind of inadvertently led to a break in my arm. So I actually didn't end up pitching any more baseball this summer. Which we'll give a quick shout out to the SoCal Mavericks. Obviously, we've both worked with them. They end up winning the Sunset League championship this year. They finished first in the regular season, and then they also won the tournament bracket style as well. So, one in the actually they were playing their final two games while we were in Upland for the tournament. So, that's the other thing. I was possibly, if this tournament didn't last too long or we got eliminated, I was going to go from Upland to Mount Sac College, which was about 20-25 minutes away. I was going to go there and try to get there for Game 3, but based off how much I pitched and how it went, I was and how I was feeling, and given the fact that it went so long, I ended up. I mean, I ended up not going. I want to go have pizza and hang out with them afterwards, which that was long because I was just so tired and drained, and I just couldn't play pool for the life of me. That was the worst I've ever played pool in my life. I couldn't hit the most basic shots, and but I was just drained.
He's like this. He's like taking the phone. He's like,
dude, like honestly, like my eyesight was off. Like I just felt like
okay.
I just felt like I couldn't like. I was like aiming perfectly in my mind, and then it would just be like a little bit off. It was just pissing me off, to be quite honest.
Knowing that the competitive side of you is just like that must have been frustrating. You're like it's saying a lot of cuss words.
Yeah. I mean, we were in like a sports bar, so I kept the mouth clean as much as I could, and just I like to be competitive with a lot of things I do. So, I mean, not that it like mattered that much, but it was just more. I was just more like mad at myself because it's like I considered myself like a jack of all trades kind of guy, and then I sucked at that when I've never been that bad in my life. So, it's what it is.
I mean, I guess you can discount yourself even though you did like a whole tournament. So
no. Yeah, well, they don't know. I mean, obviously I have good relationships with the Hoffmans, and they're poking fun at me and stuff like that. So I mean, it's fine.
Yeah, no, they're chill people. We both know that for sure.
Oh yeah.
Just funny because I don't think we've ever had them on this show, right? We've never really had.
No, we haven't. We could have them on. We could try to have them a couple weeks because they're gonna have. They're playing in the SoCal League, and they're going to have a series coming up pretty soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. I mean, why not? Why not?
Speaking of SoCal Wiffle Ball, that's a great transition right there, Justin. I'm going to give you a round of applause.
Can you give me a trophy, please?
Which one do you want? I have a bunch up here. Which one do you want?
Whichever one's the most worthless to you.
I'm not going to answer that.
Ugh, almost had him there. Anyways, Yeah.
You want the biggest one I have? The this one.
Yeah, sure, I'll take that.
Can't really
Shit.
see it with the blur, but I mean, you guys have seen this trophy before. I sent a picture of this trophy next to the MLW trophy to
Wow.
Dustin. He was like, wow, the size difference between those two. And I was like, yeah, I know. I say that to myself a lot. But anyways, see, anybody can get it, including
Oh my
myself.
god.
Anybody can get it, including myself.
Dog.
And I didn't want to say it, but I was saying my eyesight was struggling like playing pool and stuff, but it was like I almost felt like you out there with some
Alright.
you can cut that out if you want to. Sorry.
It's staying.
But
It's staying. That's for sure. So I can have a record of this
that's fine by me.
when I'm gonna have a record of this when I sue you for defamation later.
Okay, all right.
Anyways, yeah. You were talking about SoCal Wiffle. I apologize.
So I mean, yeah. So we have some interesting some stuff to talk about with that. Obviously this podcast it used to be sponsored by OC Wiffle at one point, and we would just talk a lot about OC Wiffle, which we will talk about a little bit later. We're still going to talk about them, but that based off the direction we're going with the podcast, we felt like it was best from both sides to not have that official basically not have that have the OC Wiffle basically they don't have to tag us in the story and whatnot and repost whatever and things like that. But we are going to be doing more stuff with that with SoCal Wiffle Ball. So this is going to be more of the place to listen to for different SoCal Wiffle Ball stuff. In terms, just talking about things that happen in the series within the league, things like that. Obviously, I know a lot of it. I mean, me being in the league, and you appeared in the video as well. You appeared in the opening day series, which we're going to get to because we have a few series to get through, to be quite honest. But yeah, with all these videos coming out, we have the spring training, we have the Panthers Penguins, we have the Llamas Dolphins. But the one I know we can definitely talk about for sure is the opening day series, which was the Phoenix versus the Sharks. Especially in the fact the Sharks are the team that I play for, and then you actually were a sub. You actually were a sub for us that day, which was nice to have you out there. But if you're ready, we can kind of get into these.
I mean, yeah, that's fine with me. I didn't really take a deep dive into the spring training stuff. I did see kind of just the small little details. I think the big ones were like kind of the other series that have been going on as of recently.
Yeah.
But
we don't need to go to the spring training as much. Basically, the main thing with that, I mean, it was just people getting out there for the first time. The big thing was the new zone. So there's a smaller zone with the SoCal Football League. We're using the same zone size that MLW uses. In the past, we used one that was a little bit bigger. It was the more like the homestand style in terms of like their it was a little bit bigger. I think it was like 22 by 30 or something along those lines. And this one is smaller. This one's the actual MLW size. So bit of an adjustment for those guys. We saw our guy Tommy Hernandez out there. He pitched 3 scoreless innings in the spring training video. So good to see from him. But yeah, we'll start off with this. We'll start off with this opening day series. One of the better series I've played in a while. You had the 2 teams that finished first in their respective divisions last year. My Sharks, we finished 8-2 in the regular season before we got knocked out in the ALCS, and then you had Fullerton Phoenix, who went 9-1 last year and lost a 6-game series to the Llamas in the World Series. So, if you want, just we'll start off with the. I mean, you did not get drafted into the league. We saw that through the draft video, but you are on the list of subs.
all those managers don't know what they're missing. I'm just kidding. Hey, you're supposed to be my captain, man. You're supposed to back me up here.
I'm not a captain in the SoCal League. Excuse you.
No, I mean captain like also, on the LA Wiffles of OC.
Well, I am, yeah. We work together on that, but we really needed a second pitcher for our Sharks team to be able to.
No, I can understand. Yeah, no, I mean like the other people.
I'd talk to you about it. I said if a guy like Joaquin wasn't available at the fourth pick when we traded, then I would have probably just stayed at 7 and like taken someone like you or Jordan, something along those lines. But
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
no, it was fine.
there's always next year. But I mean, also as a sub, you can actually end up playing a lot more games than some of the players do. I know.
Yeah.
For example, I think the guy who played the most games last year was Ian Brunetti. I think he played in like 7 series last year because as a sub.
Yeah.
But yeah. So you come out to your first ever SoCal series. You're playing with it's just me and Joaquin that day, along with you. What was it like for you, kind of playing in a series for the first time within the SoCal League, as compared to like the tournaments or something else like that?
I was above myself. I mean, it was like jumping out of my shoes. Like it was kind of cool. Like get your first taste of being on a SoCal, wiffle ball. Not only that, but it's like also being on a video, which is cool. You're like, oh look, it's me on a video type of thing. Like, because it's funny because like I do the broadcasting stuff at my school, so it's like it shouldn't be a new thing to me, but like it's just cool to be out there, like,
Yeah.
with a different audience per se, and then they're watching like a series like that and they're like, who's this like Asian kid, what the heck, even though there
Okay.
is another guy named James Lee in the league. But yeah, it was definitely cool, finally get a jersey, SoCal wiffle ball type of thing. Was not expecting it to be your team actually, which is funny. But I guess it's a little preview of maybe something in the future, who knows. But I think it was cool overall. I think what happened actually was the most exciting thing that's ever
Oh
really
yeah, yeah.
happened. Yeah,
We'll get into that in just a minute, but
yeah,
so I'll explain it with the is for some of the people who coming in here listening for the first time. So with the SoCal League, we have 8 teams that have 6 players on the team. I mean, usually there's some teams that don't have players that won't play at all and things like that. It just is what it is. But we try to figure out a date. Usually each team for this season, each team has to play within a 2-week period to try to keep the season moving along. Because last year we got stuck with a lot of issues, and actually the season last year went from June 2nd to like March of this year, just because things got so delayed and people weren't available. It's like Dustin set some hard rules and just set some ground rules and said, if a team's not able to come out, he will literally put out a team of reserves, which that hasn't happened so far. But the way the reserves, there is a group of about 6-7 reserves that are there, that are. It's pretty much a group text with Dustin. If someone needs a sub, then Dustin texts that group. It's pretty much first come first serve, if I'm not mistaken, for that chat. And so Justin was available for this one, and like he doesn't the subs. They don't know which team they're playing on. They just out there. They just get told what time and place, and then they kind of find out from there. Plus, I kind of want to keep it a little surprise for you because I knew you were coming out there that day, but I kind of want to keep it a little surprise for us to play on the same team again, which obviously I always enjoy, even though we just didn't play on the same team in fast pitch. But anyways,
yeah.
But yeah. Looking at this first series here, you had me versus Cannon starting off on the mound. Two top guys for MVP. I think I've heard a lot of people say Cannon would have probably been the MVP had they not had their illegal bat issues. Which I think it's a very good possibility. Cannon had a great season last season, hit the ball extremely well, pitched very well as well, and so we had us two starting out there for each of us. I believe Cannon starts off with Cannon was dealing early. I think the first 2 innings he sat all of us down. He got all of us out. I think only 2 balls in play. I had a couple pop ups I just missed, and one of them being in video. And then you had a ground ball to the first base side. Other than that, he had 4 strikeouts to start off the game. And then for me, it was a little bit of a different story right away. Second pitch I throw of the season, Joe Stengel hits a solo home run to get a run in the first. And then the second inning, there was a little bit of a weird spinning play. I kind of wanted to get your reaction after I explained it. It was to Joe Stengel again. They had runners on first and second, 1 out. There was a spinning ground ball to the right side. He got so much spin that ball actually it started about a few feet foul. It actually spun back to on the line, and maybe it was or wasn't smart to field it and to get the out at first because Joe wasn't running. But Cannon was aware on the base pass and made it around to home. But match, he beat my throw to home. So do you think I made the right decision there to to play that fair and let that run score?
Um, I don't know. I think it's a bang bang play, so it's like I see where the strategy is going, but it was actually kind of like a smart play on their end to actually move up once they saw that you were gonna go for the ball, like in that territory. So I don't think you could have really known that much because he was what, standing on second or third by the time that happened, right?
It, Wait, he started on second. By the time I fielded it, he was on third base. And
Yeah. Okay.
Rodell Wilson, another rookie in the league, their rookie, the Phoenix rookie, he was on second base, which
Yeah.
he ended up staying on second base because I made the throw to home. But
Yeah, because yeah, I think it was just smart base running from them because he was at second, but ended up all the way home. Obviously, on that play, he just
yeah,
recognized.
I mean, I think about it like in the moment. It's like I don't think it was the wrong decision. I mean, I think maybe I could have been a little more aware of where Cannon was, things like that. But I mean, at that point, Joe had been seeing me good. I mean, obviously, he had that home run to start off the game. I was like, I need something to be able to. I need some way to be able to secure an out because I struggled finding the zone in this game, to be quite honest. With the smaller zone, it was a bit of an adjustment. I was just missing on a lot of pitches.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
The zone's a crazy story because that thing is really tough to hit, and yeah. I mean, we're not at that point yet, but we will
yeah,
probably get to it. Just like yeah,
we'll talk about you hitting.
it
The zone and
changes the
things like
game. It
that.
changes the game. That's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, people who have been to our tournaments, or within the league, well, people within the league obviously know. People have been at the tournaments and stuff if they're listening. The new zone size is the size of the medal for the tournaments. That's pretty much what it is. So, that's the tournament zones. That's with the medal and not any of the outside PVC pipe or anything like that. It's just a medal. So it's tough. It's not easy. It was a little bit of an adjustment to try to get used to, but I bared down at the end. But then we get to this top of the third inning, and this is where things really kicked off. So I'll kind of go through, and then I'll kind of get your reaction to all of it. So we start off. I feel like I was seeing Cannon pretty good, but I was just missing the ball a lot. I first at bat, I had a pop up to left field, and there was an earlier incident in the second inning where Joe Stengel had dropped a pop up foul, and so in this third inning, I had another pop up like a few feet in front of the fence. It wasn't going to be a homer by any means. And so Alec Ochoa was playing first base. He runs behind Joe Stengel to secure the ball just in case. With the wind, the ball ends up flying a little bit backwards, ends up going off both their hands, ends up dropping to the ground. I end up getting a double on the air to start off the inning, and that kind of led to things from there. I mean, Joaquin had a walk. I believe you struck out, and then I had a single that hit the top of the wall in left field, where the thing was roped. And then you had I think this could honestly be a moment of the year already for the SoCal League. You had Joaquin Jimenez hitting a grand slam to right field to give us to give the Sharks a 4-2 lead. I mean, I don't know if you could have chosen anyone else to be able to do it. I think I know in some people's minds he was kind of the last person to expect, but to be able to have a moment like that. But what were your thoughts on kind of on that moment, on kind of that inning overall?
You know, I got a lot of love for Joaquin. You know, he's a really good pitcher. Obviously, I joke a little bit too much sometimes about his overall stature because he's a really skinny dude. I mean, look, UNICEF, if you can support this guy and give him some.
Jesus.
Right? See, I give him a little bit too much.
I don't know this man. I apologize. Jeez.
Anyways, yeah, he's a great kid. He does things that kind of just come out of nowhere. And this is one of those moments because I don't think any of us were ever expecting to get like something crazy like this. Because I thought maybe he'd get like a single. Because it wasn't like a big hit. It was like I when I was running back, I was like, okay, this might hit off the wall or whatnot. And then when I finally saw that it went over that, I was like, oh, whoa, that was crazy. What just happened? And everyone's going nuts. Vinny was there. He was going nuts. Whoa, did that really just happen? And it's just like this. He hit a grand slam. Crazy moment. We're down against one of the best pitchers in the league, in my opinion.
Yep.
I think, and that was a pretty good pitch too. I think from him. It would have been dotted on the top right corner of the zone if he didn't hit that. And yeah, I was surprised. It was the sickest moment I've ever seen. I think the celebration was even crazier at the very end.
Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, I felt something was brewing in the inning. I felt like if I got another, I felt like it was gonna. I felt like something like that could have happened at some point. I think Joaquin said it afterwards as well. It was his first home run like at the field in like over a year. I don't think he had a home run like in the past like year or so at that field. I think it's like since like 2022 since he had a home run at that field, something along those lines. Uh, but but just absolutely ridiculous moment on a full count pitch as well. I mean, on a pitch that was going to be a strike, and as you know, it gave me a shock because I felt like I kind of at that point I felt like I had kind of cost us the 2 runs there to start off the game. I was kind of like, oh okay. I mean, this is not the start we wanted, and with a lot of our guys missing, we need to try to find a way. I felt like it could have happened at some point. I felt like you could have possibly done it, or I could have possibly found a way to get some runs across. But I mean, literally everyone was in shock. I mean, Dustin after we made the goal, he's sitting down, just hands on his face, like mouth wide open, just like what's going on. Vinny's running out to the third base line to go celebrate with him.
Yeah.
In a situation where there was a long period of time where Joaquin was going to be on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I mean, but before Vinny knew about Tommy, I think Joaquin was kind of their selection they were going to go with. So, just crazy moment overall, and just very glad. But we still had some game to play. We still had the job to finish, and I made it very interesting in the bottom of the third. I get Joe out for the first inning and first out of the inning, and then I give up 3 straight walks to Cannon, to Chenzo, and to Rodell. I just couldn't find the zone, and so we get to a situation where it's bases loaded, 1 out, tying runs on second base, winning runs on first, and I just walked 3 in a row, and it wasn't looking very good. Was it? I also realized this another thing. So before the game, I had my bucket of balls. I was just hitting some batting practice and things like that. I had realized after the game that 2 of my scuffed balls were mixed in the bucket. So, so I was pitching the game. I was pitching the game with 1 ball that I like, and then I was pitching with a ball. The second ball I was using was a ball I've never used before in SoCal. So that was something I didn't realize until after I was done pitching, which I'll give you a little bit of insight to how that kind of works, because we have some different rules as compared to like some MLW, where each pitcher can bring in their own scuff ball. They can have 3 balls out with them at a time, but obviously no cuts or anything. It's just a scuff versus like an MLW where you have 1 ball being used and it's all the same scuff and things like that. So
Yeah.
this allows for our league for pitchers to have some more controls, since we don't have the overall level of talent that like an MLW has and things like that. But I ended up bearing down. I got Joe Stengel on a strikeout for the 3-2 pitch. And then I had Cannon Rabbit up to the plate, who I hadn't been able to get out the whole day. I think he had done nothing but walk at this point, but it wasn't on purpose. For some reason, I just struggle to pitch the Cannon. I just struggle to throw strikes to Cannon. I don't know what it is, whether it's SoCal or fast pitch. I just struggle with him. But on a two pitch, I do a little quick pitch riser, gets the top of the zone for the game, and the Sharks end up taking up the first game of the year 4-2, in a very eventful first game.
Yeah.
Filled with some. With some good hitting and stuff from the Phoenix, and then come back from us just out of nowhere. It was really a big win for us, in my opinion. Hopefully, that's something that's going to dictate the rest of our season for us. But it's a very good game for you to have your first game out there as a reserve as well.
Yeah, I mean, I had a hit, which is cool. I actually got on base a few times. But it
Yeah,
was
you
just
did.
cool. Yeah, so showing out for the future managers, whoever's out there.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see if that's a possibility. I mean,
Yeah.
as of right now, the Sharks don't have a draft pick right now, but yeah, because we traded our draft pick away next year in order to move up this year's draft to get Joaquin. But we'll see. We'll see if anything like that happens for the future. I mean, you can always you can always try to find a way to make something work. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
Game two of that series was a little bit more the opposite of what we saw in game one. Saw a lot of walks. You saw Joaquin struggle with the speed in this one. His first time pitching in a SoCal game. Um, I think like two of the first four pitches he threw were over the speed limit, which is a 72 mile an hour. It's a 72 mile an hour speed limit. If you it resets each inning, you get 2 warnings in an inning. If you throw it for the third, if you get hit it for the third time, you can't pitch anymore in that series. And it was the fifth batter of the game that Joaquin ended up getting tossed, and so I'd used all my eligible innings already. You get three regulation innings, which are not extra innings, but they're like the first 3 innings or whatever of the game. So I left us with one option there on the mound. They left us with Mr. Justin Lee as our last resort for pitching.
Yeah.
Which you had not really pitched the SoCal style before, so that was going to be something interesting to figure out. But
Let alone with the zone 2 now.
yeah, with the smaller zone and the Phoenix, who a lot of them are college baseball players or former college baseball players, and they just know how to hit.
Yeah.
And that's what it did in the first inning. I believe Alec Ochoa had a grand slam in the first inning to make it 5-0. And then Alec Ochoa on the mound, he struggled on the mound. I think we walked 8 times to score 5 runs for the Mercy as well. So it was one of this game. I could tell this game was going to be a lot longer, which ended up affecting us a little bit later. Second inning. I think Phoenix had some more walks. I mean, look. I mean, at that point, at that point in the season, you weren't expected to pitch on a team with me and Joaquin. You were not expected to pitch
as a reserve
at
too.
all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, as a reserve player, and so it was one of those you just take it for what it is. I'm glad you were throwing some strikes in there. I would take the hit. I think I said in the moment, I'll take hits over walks at this point, just to force them to put the ball in play and things like that. You know what they did, and so they scored another 5 in the second inning. We scored a couple in the second inning as well. I believe that was the inning you had your base hit to right. I believe we walked a little bit more, and then Joaquin had to leave. So Joaquin is 15. He's not old enough to have his license. So he had an event that night back in San Pedro.
I mean, are you sure he can even like hit the pedal? Because I feel like his legs. No, I'm just kidding.
He's a lanky guy. He's not short.
I don't mean short.
He's
I mean
between
like
our height.
I don't mean short. I mean like if he presses his leg on the pedal, will his legs like? Now you got it.
You're talking about power, right? You're talking about muscle. I was gonna say I want to say he's taller than you.
I don't think I should keep this part in.
It's up to you.
I love you, Joaquin. I promise.
Yeah. So Joaquin had to leave during the middle of the second inning. So now we're in an interesting situation with the rules. So the previous rule was when the batter comes up after they've left in the series, it just counts as an out the first time. But this is something that was kind of Dustin went into the UF's rules and went off based off of that, which nobody had any knowledge that was a thing. He put that in there. He implemented that on the spots, and so now it's a situation where anytime Joaquin comes up to the plate, he's going to be an automatic out. So, I mean, it is what it is. It's tough. So we're stuck with just us two. I think it was 10-7 going into the third. Alec Ochoa hits another grand slam. I believe it was 16-7 at the end of the top of the third. You did get a strikeout in there. You did strike out Cannon Rabbit in there.
That's the biggest achievement I'll take out of that, is just striking out one of the better, hitters of the game.
It might have been your only strikeout of the day, but you also had a nice defensive play in the third, and you had ground ball yourself in which you made the throw to home and hit the zone.
Oh
So
yeah, yeah. Well, you had to tell me to throw it home actually, because I like
I
kind of
did.
was like about to throw this somewhere else, and you're like, oh, no, 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 throw it
Yeah.
home. I was like, oh,
Yeah, yeah. I mean that you did. So, I mean, and making that play and then getting a strikeout on Cannon, 16-7. So at this point, actually, funny enough, it was impossible for us to win,
yeah,
because of the situation with Joaquin. We were down 9, and the maximum runs we could score was 6. So we saw Rodell Wilson onto the mound, and for a second time ever touching a wiffle ball, really, or if they're pitching a wiffle ball, he was looking pretty good. He had a good little riser going, and we've seen in some of the tournaments how he's just got improved and gotten better and better since this game. We ended up walking a few times. I didn't want to be boring. I wanted to put the ball in play, try to make something happen. I ended up hitting a line drive straight to Joe Stengel, but I mean the game ended on a walk, which is I'm not sure how many games you see end up like that, but Phoenix ended up winning Game 2, 16-7. We get a split on the series, and Alco Cho was named the player of the series for his Game 2 appearance at the plate.
yeah,
It could have possibly been Joaquin, but Joaquin had to leave early, so
yeah. It is what it is. Yeah, I mean, it could have been different too because the video doesn't show. I mean, it shows it one time, but it doesn't show the 2 times. But the 2 balls that went out in left field were this close to being home runs. Literally that close. The first
That's
time
a
I was
lot.
like, oh, okay, a little bit close. Second time I was like, oh my god. Like how many times can it, what you're saying, a dead clock
Yeah,
is
a
incorrect
dead
twice a
clock is
day?
right twice. A dead clock is right twice a day.
Right, yeah. And I was like, dude, are you kidding me? Are you for real? So, yeah, it could have been a different game, but review happened, and unfortunately, you don't get those home runs. Would have been nice to put it on the highlight reel, but you know what? It's okay.
It is what it is. But I think for both these teams, it's not a bad start. I mean, if you're the Phoenix, I think you wish you would have had that sweep. I mean, you had that game 2-0 to top of the third, Cannon on the mound. So I'm as a Sharks player and as the acting manager for the day with Walker not there, it was I thought we were gonna split. To be quite honest, I thought we were gonna win game 2 with Joaquin on the mound versus Alec Ochoa, but no, you take it however you can.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, there's not much you can do when you have the rules that like that. You add an out every time another gets up,
Yeah,
which is nuts. But I mean, the league is kind of changing to more of a standard of not just MLW but also UIFs too. So
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, different rules for different leagues and all that.
Yeah,
So
I think it also kind of just forces some people to kind of work their schedules out to like be committed more to SoCal rather than just like, oh, I can just up
yeah,
and leave and that kind of thing.
yeah.
So, yeah, completely normal thing. But yeah, obviously there was other series too that we haven't even touched on.
Yeah. There were. We'll get to those right now. So that's it for our opening day series. Opening day series of the year for SoCal Wiffle Ball. Very interesting one between the Sharks and the Phoenix. Both teams starting off 1-1. But now we move on to some of the other series that have come out since then. Like I said, we haven't done a podcast in a while, and we're going to be talking a lot more about SoCal stuff as well. So we'll still talk about other leagues and things like that as well. But next up, we got the second series of the year was the 2 second place teams from last year. You had the Placentia Penguins and the Pacific Panthers as their full name. So we just know them as the Penguins and the Panthers. We had these 2 teams taking on each other for their opening series of the year, the second open series of the year on YouTube. And I was at this one. You are not as familiar with this one, so I'll mainly talk about this one if that's all right, Justin. Um,
Fine with me.
but this first game it was first game it was Ben Wimple versus Ethan Johnson on the mound, and for game 1, Ben Wimple looked very good on the mound. Ethan Johnson struggled with the walks in the first inning. I believe he walked in. I believe all 3 the runs the Penguins scored were walked in, and no hits at all in game 1 for the Penguins, but also just 6 walks to score 3 runs in the first inning, and then from there it was kind of smooth sailing from there for the Penguins. Panthers were able to work one back, I believe, in the second inning. They were able to make it a 3-1 game, but couldn't amount to anything else. Penguins ended up taking the first game of the year 3-1. Ben looked very good on the mound. Ben Wemple, the back-to-back Cy Young winner in our league, in 2 seasons of the league, has won both the Cy Young awards. He looked very good on the mound. Only allowed one run, allowed a hit to Bodie Faulkner and Dustin Staggs in the game. Other than that, that was all the damage. Just a few walks here and there. Walked in, one run. We did see the first ever out of state player in this series. We saw Logan Christie make his first appearance of the season, coming out from Vegas, and it's gonna take a little bit of time for anyone to adjust to it. I think you saw with your first series how much of an adjustment it is to come into a league like this. Even as much wiffle as Logan Christie plays, facing anybody, especially facing a two-time Cy Young winner, is not easy. Game two is where things got a lot more interesting for both these teams. You had Colin Mitten on the mound versus Dustin Staggs. I believe the strategy from Dustin on this one was he wanted to pitch that second game and at least secure one win, because the previous year this was an opening day matchup, and the Panthers actually got swept by the Penguins due to an eighth inning walk-off home run by Colin Middleton versus Dustin. But then, so this game was game two. Colin and Dustin were both pitching pretty well out there on the mound. We were scoreless through the first three innings. Dustin with a lot of strikeouts in here, and Colin was able to get the outs when needed. He had some good number of strikeouts as well. So we get the extras. So for extra innings, I mentioned earlier about the inning regulations. Extra innings don't count for the inning regulations. So Ben Wiffle came back onto the mound for the Penguins, and Dustin Staggs stayed on the mound for the Panthers. Ended up in the fifth inning. So the way the SoCal League works as well for extra innings, you start in the regular season. You start with a runner on second, one out, and a 1-1 count each time. So sometimes you have some very quick second innings, or some extra innings, I should say. It was in the fifth inning. Penguins worked a walk for runners on first and second, and then two errors in the field, I believe it was, by the Panthers. Ended up scoring a run for the Penguins. One of them, I think the first one might have been like a hit or a fielder's choice. It was like a spinning ground ball to Dustin. Dustin dove and had no play anywhere. And then the second one, it was a bases loaded, one out. It was two outs. It was a ball off of Logan's hands. He bobbled it, tried to throw it home. I think if he had fielded it cleanly, I think he would have possibly been out, but he didn't, and he was safe. So Penguins score the first run of the game in the top of the fifth. In the bottom of the fifth, Dustin steps up. He leads it off with a single. It's a lot of weird spinners so far this year. We saw the spinner with the Sharks Phoenix series, and here we get another weird spinner where the ball's got a lot of top spin on it, where it starts off slow and then just kicks up on you, and that's what it did to Colin Middleton in left field, right by third base. Bodie was on second base with one out. Dustin hits that ball, it rolls under Colin's legs, and Bodie's able to score. So the Panthers are able to tie it up there. And from that point, it just continues to go back and forth between Ben and Dustin. They're both just getting out after out, strikeout after strikeout, until we get to the bottom of the ninth inning. Ben Whipple's on the mound, a couple walks to lead it off. He gets a strikeout, and then he struggles a little. A big pitch was, I believe, it was the 2-1 pitch. Ben threw a strike, and it was 73 miles an hour, so that means it was an automatic ball, and then he ended up walking Bodie for the last to lose that game 2-1. So another split to start off the season. Panthers able to come back and win game two, and Dustin was the player of this series in this one. Especially he had 2 hits on the day, and then he had 9 innings pitched with 17 strikeouts, which is even more impressive given the fact that the 4th through 9th innings are not full innings. You're only getting credit for 2 outs per each inning in terms of the actual stats. But I'm just going to make the post and say he pitched 9 innings and whatnot. So good because I can. But so yeah, I mean that's a matchup we see a lot in this. We've seen a lot in this league. This was a World Series matchup from 2022 in which the Penguins actually swept that one over the Panthers 3-0. We saw it last year. Penguins swept that one 2-0 last year's opening day. This year, Panthers able to get back on the board and win this one 2-1. Both teams start off 1-1 again. So so far, all 4 teams have the same 1-1 record. Do you have any thoughts on what I said, or you want to just keep going?
Not much to really touch on there because I didn't really see much of it. So I think you kind of really went over pretty well.
Alrighty, that works. That works for me. Let's move on to. So now we move on to now we're getting up to date here. We have the most recent series, which was the Bama Llamas versus the District Dolphins. A lot of these guys we know pretty well. We've played with and against them. On the Llamas, you have PJ Gordon and Mitchell Downing. We played against them at OC with ball. On the Dolphins, you have James Lee, Vinny Casella, and Tommy Hernandez that we have all played with and against at different points. So a lot of people we know here in this matchup. It's going into this one. Out of the first set of games, this was actually the one I was looking forward to the most in terms of how it went. The Dolphins added Tommy Hernandez to be able to boost their offense and hopefully find themselves a second pitcher. And then with the Llamas, they have Brandon Maya on the team now, but he was not available for this series, and they just came off that World Series. So I was very interested to see how these two teams are going to compare against each other. All right, back a little bit of a break we needed. We have these things called, well, actually, according to you guys, I'm just a wiffle ball nerd, and I just don't have a life outside of this. But according to you and Dustin, that's what you guys say. But I mean, we're busy. We're busy at times with other things outside of wiffle ball, which is always good. It's good to have other things going on, so family, friends, work, and other hobbies, things like that. So other stuff came up. We're back. We're here finishing the podcast right now. I believe where we just left off, Justin. We were just getting into this third series of the year, which was the Dolphins Llamas series. You had the World Series winners of last year in the Llamas versus an interesting team. A team we have a lot of guys that we play with outside of the SoCal League with Vinny and James and Tommy Hernandez as well, going up against each other. So, as an outsider watching this video, what were your thoughts on the series overall?
In terms of overall, my thoughts was just watching the game in general, just watching guys like Tommy Hernandez showing out and obviously really pounding the ball. Like, we know him. Obviously, he's been on the show. We've seen what he can do. And I think it definitely translated over pretty well with the hitting. Maybe not so much the pitching in that aspect, but we haven't really seen that yet, to be quite honest. But, I mean, we saw a little bit here. And it didn't go so well, obviously. But, they're working on that. They're developing. I know Tommy said, early he wanted to work on the pitching a lot. So it is a process. It is, an interesting. It is a really interesting. Like, I'm still, even for me, like, I'm still learning how to pitch. So I can totally feel where that's coming from. Yeah, very well. I actually do want to say, there was an editing thing on the video, actually. It's like the colors or the names are like flipped on the wrong side or something like that. So like we see the first game, it's like the blue is Llamas and the red is the Dolphins, and then when you go to the end of game 2, it's like the blue is the Dolphins and then the red is Llamas. It's a little confusing, but don't worry about it. That's a whole separate thing. But Vinny Kinsella, obviously in that first game did really good. Won Grand Slam 4 RBI game. James Lee, of course, starstruck as always. He's a really good pitcher. I mean, the fact that they kind of split the series too kind of tells you a lot of where this team could potentially go talent-wise, because they do have a lot of talent. So there's a lot of upside here. And I'm interested to also see what the Llamas are going to be able to do going down the road, because obviously they actually did kind of struggle in that first game, but they did take advantage of Hernandez being on the mound that second game, and they kind of came away with that W. So, I mean, it's a good time for both teams to kind of split the series. So good start to the season even for both of them, if you want to think about it that way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could say that. I mean, look, I mean, something we haven't seen a whole lot in the past was the Dolphins in offense. They're usually not a team that hits a lot. They usually just find a way on base, either through walking. Usually, they just decide not to swing the bat. To be quite honest, at times, especially like 2 years ago, a bit last year as well. And then James got hot at the end of the year. They came out swinging this year. I mean, Vinny had that grand slam in the second inning, and then Tommy followed it up 2 batters later with a home run of his own. Especially off a guy like PJ, who just won the World Series and was the playoff and the World Series MVP. I mean, that's pretty impressive to be able to do. PJ's not an easy guy to hit whatsoever. So that was interesting to see them hit the ball. You saw James in game 1; he nearly had a perfect game, and then and then he nearly threw it away. He had a few walks in a row, and then had a bad error. I mean, with especially with Mitchell running to the plate, you just need to take your time, make sure you have the right grip on the ball, and I'm sure James will learn that for the future to be able to have the right grip on the ball and things like that. But game one was very interesting for me to watch and just see how that second inning especially unfolded.
Right, right. And I mean, we also, not to mention the fact that Tommy Hernandez hit 3 bombs, like we talked about it with Dustin, which is nuts. That's a crazy way to start off a season. And I know you're a guy yourself from last year, Rookie of the Year, hitting multiple different bombs in different series. So a lot of good upside, no matter which way you see it.
I mean, does it help to face Mitchell Downing? Yeah, I mean, yes, it does. I mean, there are definitely some better pitchers than Mitchell. I'd say, but you still have to be able to hit the ball, and he made contact with me. He had 2 of those home runs off of him. That's a great way to start off the season so far. He's the only person so far that's got more than 1 home run in the series, I believe. Next, actually, he's got only one more than 2. He had Al Gochoa, who's the first first Trek player of the series, who had 2 home runs versus off of you, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that was an anomaly. Let's be real about that. Like, I mean,
what's the anomaly? Al Gochoa hitting or you pitching?
Me pitching.
Yeah,
because if you see both of those pitches that he hit off, they were literally just straight rising fastballs, which is, a meatball basically.
It's the name of the game. Right. Going back to the series here. You got game 2. I mean, we saw Tommy do very well in the spring training video. I believe he threw 3 scoreless innings versus the likes of Dustin, Mitchell, and Ethan Johnson. Here he just struggled to find the zone. He would get the zone at times. I do remember a lot of 3-2 counts that he had, but he get, especially that second inning, after the dropped pop up and that error and that throw to home which Trent beat out, Tommy was not able to get that 3-2 pitch to land for a strike. It's first time coming into the league. We've seen a couple rookies struggle so far on the mound. We saw Joaquin get ejected in the first inning. We've seen Tommy just struggle a little bit finding the zone. It's going to take a little bit of adjustment for these guys, even though they are the 3rd and 4th picks in the draft. It's going to take a little bit of adjustment for everybody to try to figure out the zone and figure out the new style of play coming into the league and things like that. But I mean, the Llamas do what they did a lot of the World Series. They just walked and found themselves into a victory.
Yeah. If you can get walks, I mean, that's a big part of the game too, feels like. Especially if you have a pitcher who isn't really hitting the zone, i.e. me coming in after Joaquin. That's a good example of that kind of happening, and it's strategy. It's good strategy. You don't have to swing at every single pitch. You just take whatever the defense is going to give you, and if you score, you score. And teams can win off of that type of mentality. So, I mean, who knows if the Llamas can keep it up? Obviously, it got them a World Series last year, and we'll see if it'll happen again.
Yeah, we will see. I mean, there were 5 hits in the series, but all of them were Dolphins home runs, which was very interesting. You had 3 by Tommy, and then we had one stretch. Vinny, Tommy, and Dean Harnett all went back to back to back, including Dean getting his first home run in SoCal football. In his 3rd year, he finally got one in his 3rd year in the league. So we'll see where both teams go from here. They both are 1-1. So far, everyone that's played is 1-1. And everyone's just kind of starting off with a split. Whether that's a good thing for the team or not, we shall see down the road. But I think for both teams, I think you're not in this situation, Dolphins Llamas. You're not mad at it. I think whoever won Game 1 of the James PJ matchup should maybe be a little disappointed that they didn't win Game 2 and get the sweep. But it is what it is. They could both come away with a split, and so far, everyone in the league is 1-1.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting start. But I mean, You can call it like starting up 0-0 if you want to technically call it that, which is funny enough. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting to see that just all those teams are starting off 1-1 right now.
Well, we do have one more series coming out soon. Coming out, it'll be on Sunday, the 11th of August. You have the Apes and the Cobras going off against each other. Two pretty much brand new teams to be. They've kind of been gutted and have some new players and new captains in there. So we'll see if the streak continues of teams that go 1-1 to start off the season. But also on the SoCal with Walt channel, we'll say you also have Dustin. I think Dustin's. I'm not sure if Dustin mentioned it in the interview or not. He's trying to do about one video a day, like just get one game a day from our MLW tournament, which I mean, we obviously did walk away with the trophy, but he's trying to get 1 day of that. Oh, yeah. So yeah, Dustin's going to try to come out with like one video a day or so, just kind of, and then eventually he'll come out with a Michigan vlog from both his and my perspective. So I believe that's all the SoCal talk we got for now.
Well, technically not really. Still got.
Well, the so. Well, oh yeah, true. That's for the SoCal football regular season, I should say.
Oh yeah.
In terms of today's talk, at least we'll have more obviously in the future, but.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, you want to go to kick it off right now? Just talk about what. I mean, we kind of already hinted at it. You already saw the shirt, basically, so I won't show it again.
Yeah, we do have a. I'm not sure exactly when this podcast is going to go. Maybe it'll be up before the tournament, or maybe after. I'm not. It kind of depends on what Justin wants to do, but
it's not going to come out for another year.
Okay, you're just going to be stuck on episode 50 forever. That's where we leave it. So on Saturday the 10th, we do have another SoCal tournament coming up here. As Justin showed earlier with his shirts, he's going bringing out his own team, including his brothers and Tommy Hernandez. And for me, it's been a little bit of a journey trying to figure out my teams. I was going to try to play with the Hoffmans, who actually are two of the new players on the Cobras going into this year for the SoCal football season. But as of about 45 minutes ago, I found out they're unavailable. So I am trying to work on currently filling a roster and making a team for Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
As of this point, I do have Cannon Rabbit with me, and we'll see how if everyone else gets added. But obviously, you have your team. I think we're not doing an official LA Wiffles team as no, you're doing your lead team. You have Brian's bringing out his a lot of the Spitfires guys. And then Dustin, who was the other one?
Maccabee.
From the other one, Jordan may go play with BGD Bombers, or he may not go. I'm not 100% sure on that one. So
yeah, there's also a couple special. You said Maccabee, I think it's also going to be out there, right?
Yeah, he is. He's going to be making his first SoCal tournament appearance of the year, playing with the Spitfires as well. So right now we're up to 9. We'll see if we can add any more. I'm going to try to push and see if we can get one more. Otherwise, we'll be doing a live stream for the pool play draws and stuff like that. See who plays who.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are probably. I don't know what you guys are planning to do, but like, I'm probably gonna do the same thing that we did last time, was record the games and then kind of edit them together into like little mini highlight reels. I hope people like those. I think those are some cool videos. There's a little bit of editing into it. It's a little like the SoCal style, but I'm also kind of basing it off of like the way, like, I guess the Japanese professional baseball league does their highlight stuff. A little cool, like, anime like music in the background, and then just cutting into innings and whatnot. And then it's good practice for me too. Like, if you haven't seen the commentary one, that's the one I'm trying to like use that to practice doing commentating skills, which is cool. So if you guys like those, they'll be up here on this channel. So stay tuned for that stuff, depending on how far we go, but who knows. I think the team that we had I think the team that had probably the most views was the one where we played against the team with Logan Christie and Tommy Hernandez. That was probably the big one. Obviously,
there were 2 games that went out, so
yeah,
you can't put up the final. because I won't be on for another 9 months or so.
Exactly. Yeah, we can't. I mean, because we don't have the rights to filming that stuff because that's SoCal exclusive stuff. So, yep, won't see that for a while. But once that comes out, it's gonna be pretty sweet because your boy's got the dub.
Yeah, that we do know. So.
Yeah, you heard it here first. You won't see it visually. You'll hear about it, but you won't see it visually till later. But yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, looking at those 3 videos, I mean, the one with your commentary has the least amount of views. So, I think we got. I think people just don't want to listen to your commentary.
So, I mean, that one did come out a little bit later, so I think some of the people were some of the people who were watching this stuff probably just didn't see it. But either that, or they really just they're like, why is this Asian dude talking on my video? Just
whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah, literally. I'm just trying to compensate. Anyways, but obviously, this is gonna be a big weekend. A little bit different, mixing it up this time, like we did with the fast pitch tournament that we did this previous weekend, or the 2 weekends ago, and yeah, it's gonna be a little different, but should be fun. It's always fun to play against guys who you typically play with, and then you just go out there and you're like, oh, we're playing against each other. It's pretty sick. Second time we'll be facing off, possibly facing off against Steven if he's out there. With
potentially, yeah. Maybe you can watch me hit another 3-run home run over you.
Oh my god, he's the bully of wiffle ball, guys. I'm telling you. I was gonna say, like, because if it's just you and Camden Rabbit, I mean, technically you have won a term before, which is 2 guys.
I have. I mean, I've done it with Dustin before. I'll see if Cannon wants to get out any of the guys, or we can just run it as a duo. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, Cannon's a very good player, as we discussed earlier with the Sharks Phoenix series earlier in the podcast. So I mean, obviously he's a very good player. He's played with us in some of our when we go do the national team stuff with the SoCal football team and things like that. So we'll see if we can get the job done. I believe that they were supposed to try to have a Phoenix team with James Lee and Ethan Johnson come out, but I heard that apparently that fell apart with, I believe James isn't going to be able to show up, and I'm not sure about EJ, but I asked Cannon, and Cannon said he wants to go, so I'll take him.
Yeah, that's a good player either way.
Yeah, why not?
It's a good talent. Quickly, before we finish off this episode, I do want to get some of your quick thoughts about because we never really touched on it. I think we just made predictions and we never really got back on it. I mean, I think we did.
We haven't had a podcast since then.
Yeah. Well, if you didn't know, OC Wiffle Ball had finished their summer season about 5 weeks ago, about a month ago or something like that.
About a week ago. Okay, not a week ago.
So
all right.
Actually, it was funny because I didn't realize that it was literally right here across the street. Because over here is a sports park. It's called Scuffed Sports Park. I'm not telling you where I live, so you can guess. Anyways,
zoom in.
No, didn't realize that they were playing over here. They actually ended up playing the World Series over at this park because they were trying to figure out where to play and what day to play it. They decided to do it on a Friday. Over here at the turf soccer field. I saw their store and I was like, oh, why does we just go watch? Took a little watch, came down with the brother. Steven actually came out there for 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
I was there for 2 minutes, way before you got out there. I said hi, I told you they were out there, and then I left because I was going to play poker, but
wait, I know I saw you.
No, you definitely did not.
Dude, no, I was sitting on the bench. You didn't see me.
You definitely were not there.
Dude, I was literally right there. I was sitting on the bench.
What games were you there for?
I was there for what was it? The start of midway through the first game.
You were not there for the first. You were not there when I was there.
No, I'm telling you, dude. I was literally sitting on that bench, bro.
So you're telling me you were there and just never said hi to me?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought you were gonna come over and say.
No, you definitely were not there. I will have to pull the receipts.
No, dude, I literally go ask Ethan right now, and he will tell me the exact same thing.
I will find the receipts after this, and we will have an update at some point.
I'm gonna tell Ethan right now. I'm gonna be like, dude, this dude does not know we were there. I mean, we probably should have said hi anyways, but like, yeah.
Yeah. No, you guys were definitely not there.
Oh man, this is gonna be funny. Anyways, yeah. So it happened there. Actually, so we didn't have the lights turn on at all on that field, and it was getting dark. It was about like 8 o'clock by the time they got into like this midway through the second game, and we had to switch field. So it's exactly what happened. We had to switch field. I think mid like second game or whatever, something like that. Um, we switched over to I think one of the baseball fields over here with the lights on. Um, there was video actually up on the Instagram page of the W and everything like that. This thing went all the way to extra innings, dude. This thing went to like double digit extra innings. I think Tyler and Jordan hit like home runs to really get it tie the game up, and then Blake Fitzgerald decided to hit 2 home runs in like the seventh inning or whatnot, and then that was pretty much it. I mean, they ran up like 7 runs, and it was all over by the time they Trash Pandas were able to get back out there with the bats, and Blake Fitzgerald quickly cleaned them up, and once again, back-to-back winners of OC Wiffle Ball, the Trash Pandas once again.
Yeah, they were able to do it again, coming off 2 seasons in a row. 2 times needing 3 games to get it done, but they, if you get it done, you get it done. So, congratulations to them. They've now won. They've now tied for the second most OC Football championships out of any team. You have teams like the Wise Guys who won 2. You have and also you have the Trailer Park Boys. They group with like Nick Hedges and Shaden Hendrickson and all of them back in the day, where they won 2 in a row and things like that. So, congratulations to them, and I'm kind of glad we have a break from that, because with all this stuff going on, my arm just needed a break, and from throwing every Tuesday night, it's just been then throwing through baseball and fast pitch and SoCal. It's just been a nightmare on the arm. So I think that's going to get started up in a couple weeks here. We're still trying to figure out the other Wiffles team, see what we're going to do. There's been some talks of of certain people leaving and coming back, but things will get announced pretty soon.
I'm actually excited. I mean, what it sounds like so far, or what it does sound like it to be, is that we might be bringing back a team that we haven't seen in a while, potentially. I'm not saying it's confirmed yet. At least from what I hear, I don't know what the talks have been with some other people, but at least from what I hear, I feel like we're going to be going back to something we haven't seen since 2 springs ago, basically. So, pretty excited. I don't know who's going to be in the league this year. It's going to be a little weird because we don't really see much. They had a pickup game, actually, a week ago. Yeah, 2 pickup games, actually. They had 2 pickup games, which is nuts. I never heard about that. They had like one in like LA or something like that. I was like, whoa, like what's going on here? But yeah, if you're somebody who's looking to join a wiffle ball league, OC Wiffle Ball is early bird pricing is ending next week. Yeah, next week. I forget if it's a Wednesday or not, but if you want to come out, make a team, join the Purple League Division 2, Division 1, why not do it? Or maybe you could play with us. Bunch of wiffle ball nerds who just doesn't know what else to do with their effing lives. But yeah,
I mean, it's something to do on Tuesday nights.
That's true. Yeah, it is something to do on Tuesday nights. Come and hang out with the boys, man. Have a good time.
Otherwise, I'm just gonna be sitting here sitting on my hands, just like probably just watching other wiffle ball videos.
Nerd.
Probably watching some of the SoCal videos that are coming out from this pool play, even though I played in them.
Yeah.
Seeing it from a different angle.
You get a different perspective. You get to see the other side of what's happening. Yeah, the moments.
Eventually, you'll be able to, on the SoCal channel, you'll be seeing the likes of me and Dustin and Sawyer and JP take on like Kyle Schultz, Daniel Schultz, Dallas Allen, and Jimmy Norb. So that will be on the channel at some point.
Yeah, that will be.
It's gonna be interesting.
That, and also the obviously the series that's coming out with the Apes, and who was the other one?
The Cobras.
The Cobras. Okay.
The Hoffmans versus the Hendricksons.
Ooh-wee. some familiar names if you've been a longtime follower of the podcast, going way back.
100%. A lot of heartbreak for those guys.
Yeah, which is funny because I feel like we should have had them on the show. We haven't had them yet, so
we'll try to get them at some point.
Yeah, like we said, we eventually might try to get a Hoffman. Who knows which Hoffman, but a Hoffman. So
might be Trevor Hoffman.
That would be crazy. That would be nuts. Just get Trevor Hoffman on here. We start talking about wiffle ball. He's like, "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah. So I think you heard about the SoCal tournament that's went on this past weekend.
He's like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what's happening here?" Yeah. That's kind of all I feel like I had on the docket. I feel like that's pretty much all we had.
I mean, it was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah. This is a long episode.
I mean, it's good. You come back, you get Dustin back. I mean, there was a lot to talk about, especially after our MLW our trip to Michigan, in which we came away with these little plaques here.
Yeah.
I may bring this out Saturday to. I mean, it's not like anything special, but I mean, it may just accidentally find its way into my bag, and you can see it if you want. And plus, I did buy. There is a shirt waiting for you as well. I did buy. There is a. As we talked about, I got you a MLW Wiffle and the Mitten shirt that I'll give to you Saturday.
Yay! I'll just pretend like I went to the tournament. Just be like, I was on the side. Yeah.
Yeah, you were the video crew.
Yeah, literally. A non-present video guy.
It was interesting trying to figure out all the video stuff mixed in with and playing and all that and talking to everybody and everything like that. So
yeah, that's the wonder of wiffle ball, though.
What was also funny is you had Jackson Pearson. He's got his own YouTube channel where he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff for MLW stuff and other things like that. And he was recording throughout the whole weekend as well. And I'd help him with a couple things, or it's not like you just probably see me randomly in the videos and stuff like that. It's kind of like, oh, nice, I'm in there.
So you get another perspective point and more media coming out.
Yeah, I showed him. I did introduce him to the world of the DJI mics. There's one segment where he used the mics, and he was kind of like, oh wow, they like. I didn't know he could use mics for stuff like this and be able to make them work that quickly and that well.
Yeah.
These are like $350. So if you want the cheap
magic.
If you want the cheap ones, then you can get some for like $30. But if you want the good ones, they're not. It's just not sponsored by DJI.
I know. I was like, this is literally turning into a DJI advertising right now.
Well, if anyone's here at this point, I mean.
Yeah. Well, if you wanted to know, the games that were recorded from the last SoCal tournament, that was using a DJI pocket camera. Actually, Steven's camera is also DJI.
Yeah, we just love DJI. We should get sponsored by DJI as an LA Wiffles team.
No, dude, we should. You get a lot of good products out of it. It's perfect. I give it a 5 out of 5. I'm a satisfied customer.
I give it a 6 out of 5.
Oh, a 6 out of 5. All right.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't know what we're talking about. We should probably end this.
I know. Yeah, we should. Well, that's it for that's it for us. Episode 51. We have touched on a lot, and we will probably get to a lot more later on, with more series coming out. Obviously, the tournament season is starting to come to a close, but I mean the regular tournaments, not the big major ones like the UIFs and whatnot. So those are coming up very fast, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Justin Lee, Stephen Hayden on the That's Scuffed Up podcast. Take care, champions, or that champion, and we'll see you guys in the next one. great start to the show.
Yeah.
This is what you live for, these live moments, dude.
We're trying to do the podcast, man. Come on.
Hey, make sure you touch home. You didn't touch home.
Already out. You touched
Yep, you're gone. We tagged you out.
Wow. Little celebration. Yeah.